We are back with College Kings. We got a special episode here. Of course, let me cue in my guy, CDM. How we doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How about yourself?
Oh, you know I'm doing good. Another great week of college football. But
Another great week of college football.
Hey, man, we got a special episode in front of us here, man. Real
special guest.
Yeah, special guest, special episode. First ever guest on College Kings. Let's introduce him, the man, the myth, the legend. Nolan Lee, how we doing, brother? Yes.
What's
Look
up?
at him. Yes,
How's
sir.
it going, boys?
Yes.
Welcome to the pod,
Great
sir.
intro. Great
Welcome
intro.
to the
Feel like a
pod.
legend. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Hey, how you feeling, man? Are you happy to be on? First guest, man. First guest on College Kings.
You know, it's a pretty cool feeling. Pretty cool to be the first guest on College Kings. Big college guy. I love some college football. I'm excited to talk about things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, we got.
What does that say on your jersey?
I think you can read it.
We got a. Hey, for the listeners, we got a rip Pac-12.
The Pac-12 is dead. The Pac-12 is super dead right now. So
It's going to be the Pac-2 next year.
It is dead. It is definitely true.
Pac-12 is living its last life this year, and I would say, not horrible fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Not a bad last year for the Pac-12.
Second best conference in college football right now.
Hey.
Look, I mean, if we're gonna bowl, we'll go bowl.
Hey, yeah. Hey, that last year, what a death for the Pac-12, man. And hey, we had an amazing Pac-12 game. Let's be honest. Nolan was talking a lot of smack during that game, but hey, it was a really good game. We're going to talk about that Washington-Oregon game, man. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Ooh.
Hey, USC dead. Talking about the Pac-12 dead. Notre Dame upsets. Well, me and CDM didn't see that coming. We didn't see an upset. We saw that
bombs.
one. We're prophets. We see the future. We're talking about that. Alabama. CDM's team survives in a wild game. Looked like they were dominating, and all of a sudden, it's a 3-point game. We're gonna talk about that.
Scary.
Hey, I bet it was
scary times.
I bet it was, man. And we're gonna talk about this undefeated ACC squad out there in Raleigh, North Carolina, that is getting no hype, and they still have one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country. Yeah, those Tar Heels. We're gonna talk about that win, staying undefeated, beating those bum Hurricanes that somehow cannot manage a clock and understand how to knee a football. Then we'll obviously have our top 6 teams. Nolan will join us on that, as well as our Heisman, College King Heisman candidates, Heisman Watch, College Kings Heisman Watch, top 5 candidates. And then we'll have our second, I have it in the script as first, I forgot to change that, second official playoff prediction. See if we got some updates there after me and CDM dropped ours. Nolan Lee, the man himself, will be doing that as well. And then we'll close the pod with game picks as always. And I'll give you me and CDM's. Actually, I'm going to say it. CDM is still got the 1-game lead. We had a great week. We both went 4-2. We're starting to get a feel for this. He's still ahead with 23 at 23 and 18. I am 22 and 19. Nolan will be joining us on those game picks as well. Let's get into it, boys. I had to dial us in. Had to give us everybody perspective on what we're talking. We got a lot to talk about.
Rundown.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. And this first thing is a sad thing. We're both we got SEC squads, but we also love great players. And this is a great player that will not be playing football for 4 to 6 weeks. Brock Bowers is about to undergo a surgery for a left high ankle sprain. 4 to 6 weeks, like I said. And in these games, they will have to be playing. Let's see, I have it.
Yeah,
Florida.
that's a good thing. Look it up.
Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee. And if it's with those 6, Georgia Tech and possibly the SEC championship, I doubt he will miss that game if they make it there, which they probably will. Unless, Missouri, you never know. You never know.
Unless Ole Miss wants to beat them or Tennessee wants to beat them. If somebody wants to grow a set and just beat Georgia, that'd be really cool. It'd be really nice.
You never freaking know. But yes, Brock Bowers, possibly the best player in the entire country, out for this squad for a good bit of time, man, when they're still kind of iffy on offense. So, CDM, let me send this one straight to you. You're a Bama guy. You might be seeing this team in the future if your team keeps winning football games. What are your thoughts on this injury? And, does this affect this team? I mean, obviously it does, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like missing the biggest piece of the puzzle, in my opinion. Like, you're losing your best player on offense right now. I understand that Carson Beck right now is playing good ball, but look where the majority of his targets go. The majority of his targets go to Brock Bowers, and Brock Bowers is that offense. Like, in my opinion, Kyle Pitts, you kind of wanted to revolve that Florida offense around him, but you had Kadarius Toney on the outside as well, and you also had
Kyle Trask was ripping it too.
Yeah, Kyle Trask. But then for Georgia to lose this and going into kind of a tough stretch of games, especially with Ole Miss and Tennessee back-to-back weeks, I could, possibly see them losing a game. It's just going to be very tough for Carson Beck has to play like a Heisman quarterback right now, in my opinion, after losing that big of a target. So I think it's going to be some adjusting for Georgia in that offense. As long as the defense keeps playing like they're playing, then they should be good. But that offense is going to have to adjust losing their best player right now. I could see it being either very good or very bad depending on how they go throughout the season, especially since Carson Beck right now is playing good ball, but we're going to see we're going to see coaching of Kirby Smart probably going to another level of, hey, we don't have our best player. We're going to have to move some guys around, find more open targets, more reliable targets as well.
Not a big play happens.
Oh, dude, that should have been a pick.
We were watching Monday Night Football, so.
But yeah, I mean, I still think Georgia can go undefeated to the SEC, but they're gonna have to figure out how to work around this offense and get more reliable people and more players open on that offense as well. And it's all up to Carson Beck. All up to Carson Beck at this point.
And Nolan, you got some thoughts on this big time injury for the Bulldogs?
Yeah, it's tough. My first thought is it has been Carson Beck's safety blanket as he's trying to take over this new leadership role for Georgia. So while it's definitely a super huge negative for Georgia, I'm sure Kirby Smart is trying to turn this into a positive for the team, saying, hey, we're going to find different ways to get creative with the offense. We're going to find the new guys or the guys that don't get their names called every single Saturday. We're going to find a way to get them involved with the offense. I think it's going to be a fun little learning moment for Carson Beck and see, okay, if we really want a three-peat, which is extremely difficult to do, we're going to have to find the guys that have not been like the Brock Bowers of the team. So, and they're going through some, SEC every single week. You're playing SEC teams every single week. It's going to be tough. Like Florida's, they're not what they've been, but they're going to put up a fight. Missouri's been a fun team to watch this year. The Ole Miss is the big game because Ole Miss basically they need Alabama to lose a game, but for the most part, they control their own destiny. If Ole Miss if they can win that game, they're going to be feeling really good. If they feel really good about getting out of the West, so it's going to be a tough little stretch of games for Georgia. But they've got the coach, and I have all the confidence that they'll figure it out. So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you look at the squad, and obviously it's terrible. You don't want to lose a guy that has 567 receiving yards and 4 tuds already this season. Unbelievable stuff. 41 catches. Second closest on the team has 31, my fault. But yardage-wise, he's ahead by over 200 yards. So it's an obvious thing to say that it's going to affect him pretty big. But call me crazy. This might be exactly what this offense needs to open up a different element to its game when it comes to running the football. They're running the football fine. Like, it's not like they don't have a great running back. Edwards and Milton are great running backs for this squad, and got some other guys behind them, like Cash Jones and Dylan Bell. They're playing some good ball for this team, but I think we're going to see a little bit of a shift in how they play this game, and they're going to be really run heavy and rely on this defense. And I think what that can do to this squad might elevate them back to that championship level, because I do think Carson Beck is a good quarterback. I don't know if he's a championship guy yet, where there's so many championship quarterbacks in college football. And yes, you can say that about Stetson Bennett, but he had something that some quarterbacks just don't have. I mean, he has the ultimate clutch gene, man. I mean, he just always showed up in the big games. And I don't know about Carson Beck. He showed up against, Kentucky, but that's not the big game, So for me, I think we're gonna see a little bit of shift in what this team might be able to do offensively. You still got some great players on the edge. I mean, I think one of the most underrated guys in the league, Marcus Rosemy Jack Saint. hell of a name. Try to get that out 3 times in a row. He's number 2 in the team in receiving yards. He is averaging 20 yards a catch. He is an absolute burner. And then you also got McConkey, and he's still
McConkey's right there.
I mean, he's been on the team for a minute, so you got some studs over there. They're not going to be able to. They're still going to be able to throw the football, but I would love to see this team maybe shift its narrative on how it plays offense and go back to maybe some old school football, kind of maybe this Alabama way of playing football this year. Rely on this run game, even though Bama's had some struggles running the ball recently. Rely on the run game. Let Carson hit some big plays to his speedsters on the outside. We might be seeing a little bit of a shift in how this team plays some football and wins some games, man.
The last thing that Georgia needs is adversity. So last thing they need is that adversity is that's what every good team needs, a little bit of adversity to push them over the edge to get them where they need to be. And this is probably what's going to lead them to do that. I mean, they play, the 2 biggest games that we talked about, Ole Miss and Tennessee. Ole Miss comes to Athens. So Athens is one of the hardest places to play in college football. It's one of the loudest stadiums to play in. And if they get out of there, if they get out of that game with a win, that's really good. But then they go to Tennessee, who Bama plays this week. We'll see. Tennessee kind of struggled last week against A&M a lot. Joe Milton didn't play his best game. He had 100 yards exact passing, but he didn't look confident. His receivers didn't look good. But if you go into Knoxville and you don't play that game and you play that game super lightly, that 12th man will chew you out. I'm talking about that is one of the loudest, most tough environments to play in. And I know last week we talked about tough environments in college football being Happy Valley, who else? And Bryant Denny at Death Valley.
Happy Valley.
Knoxville is a tough place to play. Like Knoxville is super hard. Alabama showed it last year. They struggled a lot because the crowd was so loud. So Georgia's just got to be careful with those 2 back-to-back games because, if you lose that game to Ole Miss and then have to go on the road and have to play a Tennessee team who could beat Bama, who could not beat Bama, it just depends on how that game goes next week. If you go into that game and you're coming off a loss, that's going to be super hard. It's going to be super hard on you. You're not going to have Brock back like a week after. Probably you'll have him back. If he makes some recovery really fast, you could have him back for that game. But in my opinion, if I'm Georgia, I'm not going to rush Brock Bowers coming back off of this injury. 4 to 6 weeks. I'm holding him out for 6 weeks and try and get him back in that SEC championship game and still play lightly.
Interesting little note. They actually are on bye this week. So
Georgia's on bye?
Georgia's on bye this week. Then they'll play Florida next week. So they'll get a little bit of extra rest with him. So he might. My guess is they're going to try to shoot for him to be back for Tennessee. Maybe the last game of the year. That would kind of back into the system.
Tennessee would be the safest game for him to go to. Georgia Tech, I don't really think you need to play him in Georgia Tech. Like, you're bound to beat that team.
The only reason you play him at Georgia Tech is to get him ready for like the SEC championship. Just kind of get his feet back under him. Yeah.
But Georgia, the last thing they need is adversity. So the last thing this team needs, and if they get it, they're for sure bound to go back to the playoffs. But enough about Brock Bowers and Georgia. We wish him a healthy, safe recovery. But let's talk about the game that everybody in the country was waiting for. 2 of the best teams in the country that come from the Pac-12, the second best conference in the country. We're going to talk about this Washington.
Hear that sentence often.
We're going to shut up.
He's cooking.
We're going to talk about this Washington and Oregon game. Talk about fireworks. And I know you're not a fan of the Pac-12, but you have to admit this game lived up to the hype throughout the week. This game was exciting. Both offenses came out studded out. Defenses came out playing good, but the quarterbacks is what we were focused on the most. We were focused on Michael Penix Jr. versus Bo Nix. Who's going to have the best game? Who's going to stop that? Who's going to stop the other defense? And in my opinion, Michael Penix just came out and showed that he's the best quarterback in the country right now. Man, especially after the shit show, the bad show that Caleb had during Notre Dame. My bad. After the game that Caleb had, Penix right now is the best quarterback in the Pac-12 and probably in the country. First place in Heisman for sure. Nolan, how'd you feel about this game?
Yeah, I totally agree. It lived up to the hype of the game. The whole time it didn't feel, for the first time, it really didn't feel like, oh, it's just, a regular old Pac-12 game. It really felt like like which team is going to make the mistake and which ball is going to have the ball. Whoever has the ball last probably is going to win. And unfortunately, the last one really wasn't the case. Oregon had a chip shot field goal and they end up missing it. It's just like, it was that kind of game. Oregon gambled all game long. They gambled and they made so many tough decisions. I disagree with both of the fourth down calls, especially the one right before the half.
Dude, that one made me mad.
You have a chance. You have a chance to get down by only 1 point. So if Washington comes out and gets a touchdown after the half, it's still a one-score game. You're putting yourself behind the 8 ball right as you go into halftime. You could have cut into that momentum, and it felt like a very even game. It would have been, 21-20 or something like that, or 22-21.
Let's see, it was 18. It was 22-18 going into half.
It had been 22-21 going into halftime.
If they kicked the field goal.
That's what I'm saying. The momentum would have been totally even. You go for fourth down there, and you end up don't getting it. You give all the momentum to Washington there. So that was a bad decision. And then the one at the second half where you have a chance to cut it again to a one-score game, and they go for it again and don't get it. I just thought it was a bunch of boneheaded, too aggressive of calls for such a close game. And the truth is, they still had a chance to win the game at the end. Imagine if they would have just taken points on one or two of those drives. Everything that we're saying about Washington in this podcast, we'd be saying about Oregon right now, because they'd have a win. They'd have a huge win against Colorado, and they'd have this win right now. So it's just unfortunate that their coach got in the way of something.
Yeah, and I mean
something so special, and it's like you've kind of eliminated yourself. No, you're good. The last thing I was going to say is, like, my hate for the Pac-12 comes with they just don't play enough good teams. They don't play enough teams that will get you into the playoffs. So it almost feels like Oregon's season, when it comes to playoff contention, is just over with how many good teams there are this year.
And I mean, you could put Dan Lanning. I said right here, Dan Lanning had really some questionable calls. Those 2 fourth downs. You have the ball on Washington's 47-yard line. On the 47-yard line, okay, you can either punt it. You punt that ball. You punt that ball and you pin them deep because you have the lead at that point. So if you have the lead and you punt that ball and you pin them deep, they have to go all the way down the field and score. Not saying they couldn't do it, because that offense is really good. But I mean, you pin them back and give yourself an opportunity to keep the lead and your defense come up with a clutch stop. But that it was the pick they got before halftime. How did you mess up that bad with not kicking that field goal? Going for it on 4th and goal was not the plan right there at all. I'm with you right there 100%. You take points where you can get them. And that's where Dan Lanning came in. He played too aggressive, in my opinion. He played too aggressive. He made very questionable calls on those 2 drives where you possibility take a lead and then you probably win the game if you make the smart call right there. But I mean, Nate, how did you feel about this game? I know you were excited.
Hey, your boy was excited out here. Washington, I've had him in the playoffs for all season, preseason and everything. So, I was happy to see this squad come out and perform like I thought they could. I do believe this team has been and will probably continue to be underrated. But with that all being said, this was a masterclass from Dan Lanning. Y'all have said it. I'm not going to beat the dead horse here. That was a game that Dan Lanning lost. And when he had it fully in grasp multiple times to take points, and I get it. This is the new football. This is new NCAA, NFL. It is all about analytics. And they went for 2 on the first time, too. Like, they went for 2 and got the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
And
he was aggressive all game.
All game. And when you see that, you're like, okay, this guy might be playing, like you said, CDM with his Brock Purdy. I mean, chess over checkers, man. And it always, not always, if it works, the coach is a dang mastermind, and he's innovative and the next best thing. And then when you see it fail, you're like, sometimes just smart football is good football. Not every single time you got to play these analytics, because for me, this was a game about momentum. All game, it was all about momentum, shifting. And like you said, Nolan, you hit it on the nail for me. Whoever had the ball last was going to win this game. But how Oregon handled this game, it was no longer a momentum game. Everything that happens at the end, Washington gets the ball, they go down the field in two plays and score miraculously. And when I saw it first, I was like, I was like, awesome, touchdown. Who gives it? Who cares? And then the announcers are like, too much time. And I would have agreed. I would have 100% agreed if I didn't feel like Washington had just sucked the life out of that building with that touchdown. I get it. Sometimes you want to play it smart, milk the clock, take your points, take the lead. For me, I'm over here like, no. How Washington was playing late in that game, I love to see them attack. And it felt like at the end of that game, Dan Lanning was going to make the mistake.
Yeah.
And it happened. And Washington, to its credit, just played the game they had to play to win the game. Michael Penix, unfreaking real. He is so special. I mean, he had some misses that were like, all right, I mean, he's human. He's going to have some misses. But for me, watching Michael Penix, that guy is absolutely ridiculous at throwing a football. I do want to say one guy from Oregon, he deserves his respect.
Who, Bucky Irving?
Dude, holy shit. Oh.
Bucky Irving, dude. Insane.
Dude.
Absolutely. I'm talking about he head full of steam every time he got the rock. Dude. I'm talking about he broke every tackle, got every yard that he made. And he's one of the main reasons that they were still in the game.
Yes.
I mean, he was running the ball and Oregon did not play a bad game for the players did not play bad.
No.
Bo Nix still had a game. Troy Franklin had a game as well. But Oregon as the players, the team did not make bad decisions. It was the coaching. Coaching really screwed them up, honestly. But everybody else on that team played good. And I'm getting a shout out to Bucky Irving, dude. I can see his best days being in the NFL, dude. He is a downhill runner, drop a shoulder, get that extra yard when you need him to. He balled out.
He reminds me so much, bro. He reminds me of, and I know this is the easy comparison to a next level guy that's going to take over the NFL. I saw a lot of Bijan in that guy. Power, but also finesse. He was making guys. He was breaking ankles out there with all that. I mean, I want to know how big this guy is. Hang on, let me see real quick.
Let me see. Bucky Irving,
5'10", 195. So he's not even that massive.
He's not a big guy.
But man, he runs hard, like CDM said, and he takes ankles, man. I mean, I was getting so mad because I was rooting for Washington, obviously, and I was like, get the guy on the ground. Like, it's easy for me to say that from the couch, but like, oh my God, like I really truly do not believe Washington's first defender ever tackled Bucky when he had the ball in his hands. Like, he made one guy miss every single time. It felt like I need to look at next level stats. I should have pulled it up. I don't even know if this is, like, how many broken tackles did he have that game? Because it felt like he had like 50 broken tackles or something, man.
I'm pretty sure it was around 10 to 15, dude. I mean, he was the best. He was one of the best players on the field for Oregon. Oregon has a studded offense. But I mean, he was probably the best player right now. He was one of the main reasons they were getting every single yard. And Bo Nix played good. He utilized his legs. Like we all used to see good. Bo Nix. We all used to see Bo Nix in the SEC at Auburn. He would always run the ball. He changed his game up at Oregon a lot. I agree with that. I mean, him coming over to Oregon and changing his whole game, it helped him out a lot too with the because he struggled as a passer, and now he's one of the best passers in college football right now. I mean, one of the best completion passers right now. He's still throwing above 70% or a little bit below after this game, but he's still balled out. But in my opinion, I'm going to say that Washington is a legit contender right now. I think we can all agree going down the stretch that they are going to be legit contenders to make the playoffs. And as I said about the Texas-Oklahoma game, I expect a rematch in that game. I'm saying the same thing right here. I think we see a rematch between Oregon and Washington in the Pac-12 championship. USC will not be there at all. It's going to be between these two teams because they are the best two teams in that conference right now. And if we were to see one, just wait till championship week, man. That's going to be insane. You get a Texas versus Oklahoma rematch possibly, and then you get this rematch. Insane. It would blow my mind because, I mean, once again, it's hard to beat the same team twice. I say that for Oklahoma, and I'm saying this for Washington right now. But, I mean, if Washington keeps doing what they're doing, man, they're going to sneak their way up into the top four. They just need a Penn State, and in my opinion, they need Penn State to come up clutch this weekend. They need Penn State to come up clutch against Ohio State. But, Nolan, do you think Washington is a legit contender, though?
I think that they're going to compete. I think they're going to
Hell
compete.
no.
I think we're talking about the Pac-12, right? So here's the thing. Like, we're one missed field goal away from it possibly being Oregon, and everybody's talking about Bo Nix being the front runner for Heisman, or the running back being the front runner for Heisman. Michael Penix played a great game. He had 4 touchdowns. Dude balled out, and he is such an accurate passer. But like, it could have went either way. It totally could have went either way. And
I agree with that for sure.
It's just like, at the end of the day, are these two teams, like, was that game indicative of like the top 2 teams in the country, or was that the top 2 teams in the Pac-12? Can those teams compete with an Ohio State? Can both of those teams compete with an Ohio State? Can both of those teams compete with a Georgia when they're, healthy or not completely healthy? Can they compete with a Pitt? Well, Penn State versus those 2 teams would be actually a really fun matchup. But it's like, can you take down the juggernauts? Can you take down the big dogs and actually compete for a championship? And I think that's the biggest question right now. Even Florida State, can they compete with Florida State? Florida State's kind of got a good team this year. So it's like, it's going to be fun to see how it all shakes out. It's really going to depend on, does the Big Ten end up having 2 teams make the playoffs? That's like the worst scenario for Washington right now, is if you end up being in a situation where like Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan all beat each other, and we're fighting on, do all 3 of these teams make the playoffs or not? That's the worst situation you have for Washington right now. So what you're hoping for Washington is 2 of those teams get eliminated from it, and that like Texas versus if it's Texas versus Oklahoma again, I don't really know. Do you want it to go split, and then they're fighting on, do they put both Texas and Oklahoma in it, or do you want get one team out of there and it's just Texas or Oklahoma in there? And then for the ACC, you're hoping to God that either Florida State loses a game, or, basically, to sum up my entire point here, you want any of these like toss-up divisions or toss-up conferences where they can have 2 or 3 teams make the playoffs. You want it to be singled down to where it's clear cut that Washington makes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally hear that, because if there's going to be a conference left out, it's going to be either the Pac-12 or the Big 12. And like you said, which would you rather? Personally, if you're Washington, you're probably watching the Big 12 and keeping your eye on that one. You're also probably watching the ACC, but it's also ACC's got 2 teams now, so it's like,
yep.
I would probably say
It's
Big
tough.
12 is your best bet. Texas goes in there, wins a close game, and they just say, all right, these 2 teams are the 2 best teams outside of the playoffs. Like, sorry, you 2 teams got losses, so we got to take y'all out, and we'll put in, the winner of the Big Ten, the winner of the ACC if it's FSU and North Carolina both, and if they're undefeated, SEC winner, no matter what, is going to probably make it, unless, it's a freaking 3-loss team or something, and so, yeah, it's tough. For me, what's up?
This is my last point. And I noticed this when I was making my top 4. This low-key legit could be the first 4, like this could be the first playoff where all the teams are 4-0 in the playoffs. Has that ever happened before? I don't think that's ever happened before.
No team has ever been undefeated since the new playoff has been implicated since
I think
2014.
there was 3 undefeated teams the year that LSU won it, because LSU, Clemson, and Ohio State were all undefeated going into that playoff.
Oklahoma lost.
Oklahoma had a loss, but I don't think there's ever been 4 undefeated teams. This has a real potential for there to be 4 undefeated teams as the playoff contender.
And see, this is where that 12-man bracket comes into play, because just think if we had it this year, all the teams right now from 1 to 12 would make it, depending on their schedule. Just one loss teams and probably a 2-loss team could still make it. And it's up for. And then it's any given Saturday.
Because you could make the argument that Oregon could compete against a Penn State, even though they lost this game. It's like they could compete against many of the teams that are in the top 12, and it just sucks that Oregon's championship run it's looking a little dim right now.
It
So
is.
they need a lot of help, but it just sucks that they really won't have a shot at it. Shout out
And
to
they-
the Rose Bowl.
And I mean, they just
Maybe
came
at
out and like they don't have a bye week anymore. Their bye week was before this Washington game.
Yeah.
So now they really have to play the best ball. And Dan Lanning has to call the best games of his career if he wants to make a chance of making a Pac-12 championship. Right now, I'm not looking towards the playoffs. I'm looking to try and get a rematch back against Washington in the Pac-12. I mean, at this point, it's one game at a time. And each of these games matter so much. What I told Nathan, every conference game matters at this point. It doesn't matter if it's a 3-3 Arizona or if it's a 1-4 Arizona State. Like every game matters.
Yep.
So that's how I feel about it right now. Is like it is looking very dim for Oregon, but if they just play their ball the way they're supposed to, then they still have a chance. But they need Washington to really screw up as well.
Yeah, I mean, and like you were saying, CDM, I mean, just imagine the 12 team, and I don't know how it would work. I imagine that they would give the top 4 teams a bye to still give them a reward. So imagine.
I think that's right.
Yeah, so imagine number 5 currently. This would be currently. Number 5 would play number 12 Oregon State. Pac-12. Number 6 Oklahoma would play Alabama. Who wouldn't want to freaking see that football
That would
game?
be fun.
10.
I don't want to see that.
10. No, this is even better. 10 versus 7. North Carolina's offense versus Penn State's defense. Come on.
Oh, that would be fun.
And
That's
then
a fun game.
Even this, Oregon Texas at 9 versus 8, dude. Like, come on. Like, come
No,
on.
dude, you want to hear this? It's like the New Year's Six Bowls this year are going to be insane.
Yeah, they're going to be really good this year.
The New Year's Six Bowls, we're used to like, last year I think was really weird or really like, surprising was Tulane coming into the Cotton Bowl and winning that game. This year it would just be stacked teams. Like it would just be some stacked teams going against each other. It's NFL talent all around in the New Year's Six Bowls and plus the playoffs as well.
Bro, can we talk about quietly Air Force 6-0 at 22?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Air
insane.
They get they don't play Army this week. They play Navy this week.
Yeah, y'all play Army this week.
Yeah, we play Army.
Watch y'all lose that game.
We ain't
Shut
losing
the
that game.
hell up.
Jay Daniels put up 60 points. Dang it.
Talking like the Pat McAfee show over here.
We need to dig good, bro. We need to dig good.
But I think we all summed up of how we feel about that game. Washington right now is the best team, and Oregon paves their own road right now.
They're winning it all. They're winning it all.
If they do,
Wait, who's winning it all?
Huskies.
the Pac-12,
Huskies.
They're winning the Pac-12 championship.
they're winning the national championship.
They let the Pac-12 into the top 4.
You allow that?
I thought the cutoff was the Rose Bowl, and that was like, congrats,
Good Lord.
congrats.
Fair enough.
Well, moving on to another Pac-12 team that lost. My favorite segment, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, upset Caleb Williams in the USC Trojans by a 28-point blowout. I'm talking about. Let me take this one real fast.
Yeah, I think Carson, you have the floor. You have the
Let me
floor.
take this one. This team is frauds. They are absolute frauds. This team is nothing if Caleb Williams is not playing good ball. This was probably the worst game I've ever seen Caleb Williams play on the collegiate level. Not one, not two, 3 first-half interceptions. And you're supposed to be this generational talent. You're supposed to be. You're supposed to be better than Trevor Lawrence was coming out of college. You're supposed to be better than Mark Sanchez and everybody coming out of that historic school.
Joe Burrow.
You know what's funny? That too. You could put Joe Burrow right there.
Tua.
But you know what's funny? USC was 0-4 at Notre Dame. Now they're 0-5. And I'm telling you right now, Lincoln Riley just got exposed. Lincoln Riley's defense is the worst defense. He's never had a defense. And guess what? He will never have a defense. In his coaching career in college, he will never have a defense. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. I've never seen someone have such an explosive offense and such generational QB talent. I'm talking about popping Heisman winners out like they're babies, man. Like popping them out. And you're just going to sit there and tell me that this team can contend for a playoff spot? This team is sitting at home this year. This team is not going anywhere. You can kiss the Rose Bowl goodbye. You're not even legit enough for the Rose Bowl. I'd rather see Utah go back to a third straight Rose Bowl and lose than see this team contend for a playoff spot. They are frauds. They've always been frauds. The only reason that people are sucking off on them right now is because Caleb Williams is their starting quarterback. Okay, I don't want to hear another damn thing about USC being a good team, because you know what? They're not. When they play Oregon and when they play Washington, I'm telling you, they're going to bend Lincoln Riley over, and they're going to smack that Heisman out of Caleb Williams' hands, because it's not going to happen. Michael Penix is better than Caleb Williams this season. Okay, in my opinion, you could say he's better than last season, but Caleb's doing what Caleb has to do. But that was the worst half of football, probably the worst game of football I've seen Caleb Williams play. But USC in general, USC is still letting 29 points a game. The average is 21. The average is 21. You're letting up 29 points. And you're over here saying me that you can contend? Go get yourself a Chuck E. Cheese application, bro. 40-ounce bounce out of here, bro. And you're telling me, people on Twitter are going to tell me, USC Barstool is going to tell me that when they go into the Big Ten next year, they're going to run it? Oh, heck no, bro. They're going to be at the bottom of that category. They're not going to be a contender in the Big 12. I don't know if UFC fans are smoking too much over in Cali, but I mean, have you forgotten Michigan? Have you forgotten Ohio State? Have you forgotten Penn State? I mean, you can throw other games in there. You can put in Wisconsin. You can throw in Maryland. You are not going to compete in that conference next year. You can't even compete in the conference you're in this year, and it's about to be disbanded. I mean, stop acting like you're all that in a bag of chips, bro. You're not. You're bums. You're bums, bro. Lincoln Riley has gotten out-coached these past 3 games. The past 3 games, the Colorado game, the Arizona game, and this game, has gotten out-coached tremendously. Okay, that Colorado game showed it when they almost let them come back and won 48-41. You went into triple overtime last week against Arizona. Yet again, Arizona may be the best 3-loss team that we've seen this season. I mean, they're fun to watch.
They're good.
Their quarterback is fun to watch. They're very explosive. That USC game last week, I gained respect for them, because they should have won that game if they didn't run some boneheaded play in triple overtime.
Fair.
But no way. You cannot tell me that USC is going to contend for a Pac-12 championship. You know where they're going to be this year? They're not going to be in a New Year's Six bowl. They're going to be happy enough to get a bowl game against Army. They're not going to be competing against anything. You can kiss that Pac-12 championship goodbye. It's over. It's done with. And I mean, Notre Dame is kind of mid, okay? They're a little bit above mid. But right here, USC, Notre Dame, they're in the middle right here. I'd put Notre Dame up a little bit more, because Notre Dame has actually played people. Notre Dame is 2-2 against top 10 opponents. So, I mean, come on, come at me. USC is not going to be good this year, and I'm just going to let you know that right now. How do you have such generational talent and not have a generational defense when you claim to be one of the best teams in the country? You're not. I'm sorry, you're not. Lincoln Riley will never have a top 5 or a top 10 defense. Get yourself a Chuck E. Cheese application and go find something else to cry about. Because I'm telling you right now, USC is not where they want to be. And if Caleb Williams stays back next year, I'm pretty sure it's going to screw himself up even more. Because guess what? Probably more disappointment of not going for a playoff appearance. Okay, I feel better now. I've been waiting for this moment.
Blow that steam off.
No, yeah, somebody else go before I get back on the rant.
A lot of passion. Woo. I love that, CDM. I would have to 100% agree with you, man.
I think the nation in general can agree from this game, this team is not ready to compete with the big dogs. And I know Nolan's saying that the Pac-12 really isn't ready to compete with some of the big dogs like Georgia and Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Florida State.
I did say that.
All these other good teams. USC right now showed me that they are not even ready to compete against Oregon. They're not even ready to compete against Washington. You can't those are the 2 top dogs. You're not ready to compete against anybody else outside your conference. I'm telling you, Lincoln Riley, if he got into the playoffs this year, it would be the result of every other year when he was with Oklahoma and they made the playoffs. You would get shut out so fast. Caleb Williams wouldn't even look like a generational talent. He didn't look like a generational talent last week. I mean, when Caleb Williams is not playing good, that team is utterly mid. That team looks like the USC team from 2015, 2016. I'm talking about 3 or 4 losses and 9 wins. This is what that team looked like. This team had nothing. And you're talking about Zachariah Branch. Love that kid. Stud true freshman. You're going to try and revolve this all around him and all around Caleb. You're not, dude. There's nothing good coming out of USC right now but more disappointment. More and more disappointment. And when the Oregon game comes around, they have to go to Eugene this year. They have to go to Eugene, and Washington comes to them. I'm seeing a 3-loss season this year for USC. I'm not seeing anything. No New York. You know what? Yeah, I've already made my point. I can't.
I was not gonna stop you by any means, man. It was beautiful.
I mean,
we'll let you have the floor, dog. It's all you.
I mean, it's just like, how do you? I mean, Lincoln Riley, bro. How do you think you're gonna come up and tell me you're gonna DM me on Twitter and tell me Lincoln Riley is a Hall of Fame head coach right now? What has he done? What has he absolutely done? What has he done for Oklahoma? Yeah, big talks. What did he do? What happened in the playoffs? Exactly. You should know. You blew them out. You blew them out. You had the biggest playoff win against Lincoln Riley. And you know what? They had no defense. Lincoln Riley has never had a defense. And then guess what? Brent Venable, it took Brent Venable 1 year to figure out Oklahoma's defense. Took him 1 year. It's taken Lincoln Riley 2 teams to figure out how to make a defense play. Taking him 2 teams, and he still can't figure it out. I mean, you had Jalen Hurts. You had Caleb Williams on both of those teams. And you're telling me you still can't find a way? No, get out of here. You are not a Hall of Fame head coach. You're not even glorified. You were under Nick Saban. You were under Kirby Smart. Hell, you're under Ogeron right now. Coach O has a better resume than he does.
He does.
Coach O has a national championship and the win. But you're going to tell me Lincoln Riley is here to stay? That Lincoln Riley is going to be the next coach, the next playoff coach, the next national championship coach? I remember there were people saying they wanted him to come to Alabama. And at one point, I was on that train. And then I started looking at it. I started looking at the stats. Oklahoma has had the worst scoring defense in college football when he was there. I've never seen them ever allow more than 30 points. They've allowed 30 points or more. And guess what? He said, oh, man, you know what? I'm going to take my Louis Vuitton over there, and I'm going to take it to that defense. And I'm going to tell them, hey, guys, if we just score more points on offense, we'll be fine. We'll be good. Oh, my God. And you let Sam Hartman tear you up like that? You let Sam Hartman carve you up? And then that defense, I mean, we've talked about that defense all year. Notre Dame's defense is still good. Notre Dame's defense is still good. They've had struggles, but they are still a good defense. And that showed when that fraud-ass offense stepped on the field. When Caleb Williams did that first pick, I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, that happens. It's fine. Coming off a kind of a mid-game last week, we'll see what happens. It carried on over to this week. Still mid, still the same Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma, still the same Lincoln Riley from last year. And people are talking about they have to play Utah next week. Utah is the reason they didn't do anything last year. Utah was the reason they didn't go anywhere last year. They got beat in the regular season, and then they went into the Pac-12 championship, and guess what they looked like? I'm going to say it again. Mid. They were mid in that Pac-12 championship game. How do you get swept by Utah? How do you get swept by Utah? Utah's no slouch, but guess who they had playing? They had Cam Rising playing. I don't know if Cam's playing this Saturday, but we'll find out, and I hope he does, because I would love to see him put that crown back on and tell USC, I own you. Lincoln Riley, I own you. There's nothing more to say about this team. This team got exposed. The games leading up to this showed me that this defense is regressing. It's not even improving at all. Lincoln Riley got outcoached by Marcus. I mean, there's so much more to – you read so much into these upcoming weeks to see where this team's going. And you think they're going up, but they're really just flatlining and going down. It's insane. You cannot tell me that USC is here to compete for something that they're not even ready to compete for. It's not even possible at this point. The way, if you watch that Oregon and Washington game, I'm telling you right now, that game against USC is going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. And I know Penix carved up that defense. Penix carved up that Oregon defense. But in my opinion, Michael Penix is better than Caleb Williams right now. In my opinion, Michael Penix probably, besides Drake May, what Drake May did this Saturday, Michael Penix should be the number one quarterback off the board. But I'll let one of y'all take it over from here. If I have anything else to say, I'll tell you. But, Nate, take this over for me, brother. How'd you feel about this Notre Dame game?
Well, let's move on now.
We're done.
No, man. It was and the hard thing for me is like it wasn't even shocking. Like we've seen this coming, CDM, and it's just been a matter of time. And like you said, it's one thing, you know, he did his thing at Oklahoma, got him to a playoff, almost made a championship game, and you know, it became an excuse that Oklahoma just no one wants to play defense at Oklahoma. All right, cool. Well, let's go to USC, the recruitment capital of the world, the state with the best players in high school football, maybe behind, you know, Texas and Florida. If not, they're number one. And, you know, we'll go here. There's no way we can't get a good. Who doesn't want to go to Southern California and play football for one of the best offensive-minded coaches in football? And they're not better. They're worse than last year. They haven't improved, and they weren't even the champions last year. It's the thing is he was great at Oklahoma, starts to fall off at Oklahoma, gets excuses, so he goes to USC. You should be able to recruit here without a doubt. You should be able to get. Look at Nolan; he's pointing it out.
Nolan's so ready for this one. No, I'll let you say this about this team. This team's trash.
Yes, and hey, all I got to say though, they're not getting better. Lincoln Riley has got to really look himself in the mirror and say, what the heck am I doing wrong? Why can I not stop anybody? I have it pulled up right here. They're 93rd in yards allowed. 93rd.
Trash.
That is
Trash.
400 total yards a game. They've allowed 27 opponent touchdowns. They've only scored 25. Yeah. Total yards, almost 3,000 total yards allowed.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, it's
Are you?
yeah, and I wish I could say something like, man, I'm glad that's not my team because LSU is just as bad.
Don't go there. Don't go there. I just looked, bro. I just looked.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
Oh man.
Historic offensive numbers. Just and historic terribly defense numbers.
Why can't these teams have both? I don't know, but that's all I got to say about USC. USC has not gotten better. USC will not win them much. How many more games on the season? 5 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they're gonna have a losing record in these 5 games to remain.
I hope they end up below 500. I really do.
Well, they can't.
Really
They can't.
do.
They can't end up below, but they can go 500. I don't know about
we can
that.
find a way.
I don't know about that. I mean, they do play 4 ranked teams out of those 5 teams, and California has competed this year. So, hey, that's all I gotta say. It's not gonna happen. That's all I gotta say with USC. Nolan, close us out on this USC rant.
All I gotta say is, what do you expect from the Pac-12, baby? What do you expect from Pac-12? What do you expect from the Pac-12? All right, here's the thing. We're talking a lot of crap about USC right now. We didn't give Notre Dame enough props, man.
Yep.
They came in ready. They came in ready, and I think they knew that this team was vulnerable because we all kind of saw it. Like the Arizona game, the Colorado game. Heck, it started with the Arizona State game. You're like, okay, what's going on over there? That's like a weird, oddly close game. It's Arizona State. Like, let's chill out. So, like, I think Notre Dame saw an opportunity, and that Notre Dame was battle tested. They've played a couple they've lost a couple games. They've played a couple of tough teams, and I think they're going to play the spoiler role, and they're trying to get a good bowl too. Like Notre Dame is like, kind of like you said, I kind of agree. They're like slightly above mid. I think they're a little bit better than mid. They have a really good quarterback. So shout out to Notre Dame. I think that was really the biggest takeaway. And, yeah, the worst part for y'all is that they're not going to go anywhere, and they're probably going to end up playing spoiler to this entire conference because, like y'all been saying, they're the best conference in college football, so they're probably all going to beat each other up, and then nobody's going to make the playoff. So that's my prediction when it comes to the Pac-12 not making the playoff. I think that USC is going to end up beating one of these teams, and Washington, Oregon, and it's just going to throw everything off, and then you're not going to know what to do. So the biggest positive for USC, though, is that losing to Notre Dame isn't a conference loss. So it doesn't affect whether you make the Pac-12 championship or not. So all
Yeah,
they have to do is
that's still like
all
a
they gotta-
big loss on the schedule, though.
all you got to do is win out, and then if you win out, you still have a chance.
Honestly, I'm with Nolan there. We could see the Pac-12 just beat each other up, kind of like the SEC's doing this year a little bit. Just kind of take each other out.
SEC's been big at doing that the past few years. It's just one of those things where it's like if you got a bunch of teams that kind of can hang around each other, you end up not getting as many teams in the playoff because they just beat each other up.
Yep, exactly.
Kind of what happened with Tennessee last year.
Bruh.
Like Tennessee was not a bad team, and it just
I don't mean to cut y'all off, bro. Brandon Staley masterclass, 4th and 1 on their 5-yard line, and they go for it.
Wait, I'm looking at it right now.
They were down by 3.
There's no way that you went for it on 4th and 1 on your goal line.
Brandon Staley masterclass, get him out of there.
I bet.
Was he a coach from the Pac-12 before coming to the NFL?
Oh my God.
Genuine question.
No, he was Dallas's offensive coordinator.
What was he before that?
I'm looking up his
You gotta look him up. Yo, he's gonna be like the Stanford
he was a defensive guy, CDM. He's all right. Oh God, please don't. All right, so he started at Northern Illinois for 2 years. He's a graduate assistant, defensive line, special teams coach at St. Thomas Hutchinson Community College, Tennessee, graduate assistant.
So this dude literally coached for the helpless and blind. My God, he didn't coach.
Wait. Are you talking about the team that beat y'all last year?
Hey, Loki doesn't get.
I'm talking about St. Mary's school, dude. That's the helpless school. That's the helpless school of the blind and poor.
Hey, it doesn't get better. John Carroll in 2013, James Madison in 2014 goes back to John Carroll in 2015-16. Then he goes to the Bears, Broncos, Rams, and then the Chargers.
How'd this guy get hired in the NFL?
Yeah, dude, what is his that's your resume?
Hey,
the best thing you have on is Tennessee.
This is like
Cliff. He was a graduate assistant.
That's even worse.
This is like Cliff Kingsbury getting a job just because he was the coach when Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback at Texas Tech.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. That's
literally the same.
Didn't even win, and they just got the job.
Yeah. The only thing I will say, in Carson's rant there, he misspoke. He talked a lot of crap about Utah, but I got receipts. In 2009 in the Sugar Bowl.
You really bringing up 09? You're bringing up 09, but you're not going to bring up these past 2 years where Utah's beat them?
The Crimson Tide lost.
Oh, shut the hell up.
To Utah, 31-17.
Shut up right now. That is 2009.
Shout out to Brian Johnson right now. He was the most outstanding player of the game. Shout out to wherever you are, Brian Johnson. So I was not gonna tolerate that Utah slander. Shout out to the Pac-12.
I said Utah's gonna win.
No, you talked crap about Pac-12 about Utah. You were like, how do you lose to Utah 2 years in a row or something like that?
Yeah, that's good. How did you lose to Pac-12? How did you lose to Utah? That's what I'm saying. Like Utah's good, but you should have beat them no matter what. They were favored in both of those games. They were favored going into the Pac-12 championship, and Utah beat them in the regular season. Like, if you're favored, I mean,
I just felt like that was a good game to bring up.
Oh my God, you dick! Oh, that's a smart move. Smart move playing chess over there. I see.
Utah officially owns Alabama. All right, let's move on.
We've declared that in this podcast.
That's been declared. All right, let's move on.
This is how pressed you get about Utah. I can't wait to see y'all play Georgia.
Oh dear God, I'm not even ready to play that. But talking about Alabama,
this is a great segue.
Talking about Alabama, we just Alabama versus Arkansas was a fun game. Yeah, we dominated in the first half, 21-6, and then the second half came around, and we just seemed to take our foot off the pedal, man. I mean, we just took our foot off the gas, like we didn't push. I mean, we should probably put up 30 or 40 points in that game, in my opinion, the way we were playing in the first half. And I mean, Jalen Milroe for me is improving each week that he plays, especially throwing the ball. The one thing I don't like is we are taking so many deep shots. And I'm talking about a ridiculous amount of deep shots with Jalen Milroe. And I know the dude can sling it 50, 60 yards and give our wide receivers an opportunity like Burton. Burton right now is his favorite target going downfield. But I mean, we got to stop. We got to get back to what we were doing the best, and that's running. Like, we stopped running the ball in the second half. We just stopped running the ball the second half, and it just turned out not to be what we needed it to be. And throwing the deep ball didn't help at all. And then our defense kind of just shut down. Our defense shut down in the second half and didn't stop Arkansas, especially when Arkansas caught lightning in a bottle. Sorry, my bad, guys. My stats are screwing up real fast. But yeah, like, I mean, for our defense to stop in the second half and just not dominate like we did it before was insane. Because KJ Jefferson, I mean, he that one.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry. My bad, guys. Okay, so as I was saying, KJ Jefferson and Arkansas caught lightning in a bottle.
Let's not lie.
We sent a DB off of we sent a DB blitz towards KJ, and he just shoved Arnold off like he was a baby and threw it for a first down. I respect Arkansas. Arkansas just can't seem to get over that hump of just beating the teams that they need to beat and making the plays that they need to make to get back into the game. I still think that Bama can be a threat. It just depends on what Georgia does right now. I don't think this was our best game. This was a very scary game coming into that second half. Like, I was sitting here in my bedroom looking at the game like, what's happening right now? Why are we not just pushing the ball more downfield? And why have we stopped running the ball? Tommy Rees has been the biggest question mark right now for Alabama. And I just don't know how I feel. I have mixed feelings about it, but it was a good win to get another SEC win, undefeated in the conference right now. So if we continue to do what we're doing next week, big test against Tennessee. So if we come out of that game with a win, I think we're still on the hunt for a playoff run. Right now, my focus is making an SEC championship against Georgia, because Georgia's going no matter what. Georgia will be there, and I want Bama to be the team to meet them there and possibly hand them the first loss of the season. Not much I can really say about this game. Just we have to improve a lot more on the defensive side of the ball, of not letting our foot off the gas, just continuously hammering the ball, hammering the defense, hammering the opposite side of the hammering the offense, and just making plays like we're used to doing. But once again, good win, undefeated in SEC play right now. I'll let one of y'all take it away. How'd y'all feel about this game?
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, I texted Carson, get back in frame, dumbass.
Yeah, sorry.
I was wondering what happened.
My computer froze, and I saw the text, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm in frame. Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah, he went the wrong way. He went the wrong way. That's why we laughed. All right. Get back into the point. Get back to the point here. Yeah, man, this was a good game. I mean, this was the first time I was like, all right, Bama might be back. Like, those first half, I was like, this is the most impressive Bama's looked on both sides of the ball. Yeah, Arkansas's, I mean, first of all, they're no slouch, but you don't measure your season against Arkansas either.
No.
But, I loved seeing
Arkansas just caught a stray, bro. Nobody said, yo, we beat Arkansas.
Congrats.
Yeah, we did. We beat the Razorbacks. Congrats. Oh, USC would throw a parade. Oh, Lincoln Riley would be looked at as the greatest coach of all time if he beat Arkansas. That's the way I look at it.
Every team in the Pac-12 would.
I was about to say Arkansas might be the Pac-12 champs if they went over there. But no, I mean, for me, watching, I loved the 21 passes to the 42 runs. That felt like the first time I was like, all right, Alabama is finally getting back, until I looked at the stats, and 11 of those runs, most of them were sacks on Jalen Milroe, because they contributed to sacks, I guess. And he had negative 19 rushing.
Pause. Let me say this. Another thing about Bama, the offensive line has got to stop selling. The offensive line is straight garbage right now. McClellan's doing what he needs to do, bro. McClellan's running like one of the best backs in the country. But this offense,
my fault. What's the center's name?
McLaughlin,
he's bad.
Yeah, dude, he's trash. No. Okay, so we have a true freshman starting at left tackle, okay? And I'm gonna give the big man a little bit of rest, okay? You're a true freshman. You get schooled by this bald-headed dude who is a super senior. This is his first season as a starter, as a super senior, and you're getting bullied right now. I mean, I know he's a freshman. I know there's growing pains right now for this offensive line in general, but my God, I've never seen an offensive line for Bama play this bad before. And I know it's a new team, but I mean, we got to step it up on this. We got to step it up in the trenches, man. Milroe can't be getting sacked for 5-6 times a game because that's not going to help anything. That's just a killer on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
As you were saying.
Oh, no, 100%, man. I mean, it definitely, those plays are killing y'all. Alabama is still very undisciplined with the flags. That's a big just what? A Nick Saban team, I just don't see that a lot. Allowing sacks, allowing, these flags to, affect the game so much. And
it's been a big killer all year for us.
It's been a massive kill. I mean, that's the only reason Arkansas was really in that game is y'all's own mistakes.
Can you tell me how we are kneeling the ball and we get a flag?
Yeah, I mean,
because Burton couldn't shut his mouth.
Dude, Nick was pissed.
He's been pissed these past couple of weeks, and I'm loving it because that's the Nick Saban I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing him getting on their ass when they make stupid mistakes like that. But I mean, don't be talking when we're kneeling the ball in victory formation.
Yep.
Don't do that. Yeah. That's stupid.
Yeah, and you're on the money, man. It's just there's things that don't make this, and I mean, there's not really an all-time team this year, but this is not a team where I'm going to be like, oh, I remember the 2023 Alabama Crimson Tide. This team is still so much growing to do for me to believe that they're going to, win a championship. Even though it's Alabama, they're going to be right in the middle of it to the end of this season because that's what Alabama does. But
I hope so.
But it's just, I don't know. This team is weird.
Over here praying right now.
Hey, I get it, man. But this team is weird, but I also cannot just not forget that this team has not played 4 quarters of football this year. So for me, if you're an Alabama fan and you watch that first half, if you just turn on the highlights and watch the first half, you got to be like, oh, we're back, baby. And then you watch the second half and you're like, all right, this is the Alabama that has been kind of creeping.
You're like, yeah, this is the team I remember. This is the team from the season. I do not want to remember this team at all. I really don't.
It's weird, man. It's weird. I don't know what the real takeaway is, but the biggest takeaway is you win another game. You're right back in the race still. And hey, I got to give it to KJ. That play he made on that cornerback.
When he shoved Arnold off of him like a child.
That was insanity, man. I was like, oh my God.
I mean, KJ's dude's 6'4", 6'5", at least 220 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a corner that weighs a little under 200 coming at you, and he's full wrapped around you. You shove him off, you're a grown man. You're a grown man playing against boys.
KJ, listen, first of all, 250, by the way. 6'4", 250.
Good God.
Big boy. I mean, he's massive,
huge,
man.
Bro. He's huge.
But, Sardis, Mississippi. A Mississippi boy. All right. I didn't know.
I've never heard of him. When did he graduate?
I don't. I mean, he is old, right? I mean, he's he's a super senior, right? Yeah, he's 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23. So he got his COVID year. So yeah, I mean, he's old.
So he graduated in he graduated high school in 19. So
18. He
18. Oh, okay. Okay. I got you. So, in the COVID year. Okay.
He's a year.
But this Arkansas team has also stuck around. They stuck around with LSU. They gave y'all some problems too.
That's the thing. This team is no joke.
And they gave Ole Miss problems as well.
Yeah, 2-5. It doesn't tell the whole story about this team. They don't know how to finish. They don't got a superstar on the edge. Sam Pittman's a hell of a coach. He's gonna have your team ready, and he's gonna have you. He's gonna he's gonna make life hell on your team when you're playing against them. So I want to give my respects to Arkansas, but. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Alabama is such an interesting team for me this year. I don't know if they're ready or if they're not because they just show me things where I'm like, all right, Milroe's getting better every week, and then they do that in the second half. I'm like, this team stinks. So I don't know. I don't know what the biggest takeaway is for this. The biggest takeaway, though, actually, I do know what it is you got the win. The Crimson Tide are still 6-1, and they are still
got the win.
Hey, they're still in the hunt for the SEC West in that championship. Nolan, what you got?
Hey, it's me and you. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
I don't have too much to add. My biggest takeaway was that Alabama just seems, as opposed to just some of the just legendary Alabama teams, they just feel so mortal now. The past 2 years, it feels like they just are so much more aligned with the rest of. Yeah, they're. It's not even. It's just like it feels like they're just up to everybody else has come up to them, and you probably attribute that to the transfer portal and NIL. Everything's just kind of evened now as everyone expected it would, and there's a lot more coaches like highly paid and what's the word I'm looking for? Just like big name coaches out there in the college football landscape as well.
Yeah,
so,
Lincoln Riley.
Exactly. A lot of Pac-12 coaches are out there. So, Bama just looks mortal, and the biggest problem is that Alabama got up 24-6 it was, and it's
21-6.
No, I think they kicked a field goal.
They did actually. Yeah, they did take
24-6 at half. Okay.
It was 21-6 at half, then Alabama got down and kicked a field goal, made it 24-6 after the third quarter started.
All right.
So, it just feels like that they thought that Arkansas was just going to give up. And if you know anything about Arkansas, that is the complete opposite of what Arkansas is. It's a shame. It's a true shame that Arkansas is 0-4 in conference play right now, because they've basically I got to look at it. What's the combined score of
LSU,
what?
They lost by 3 to LSU. They lost by 12 to A&M. They lost by 7.
A&M was their worst loss in conference play.
Yeah, so far.
7 to Ole Miss, 3 to Alabama.
It's just they thought this team was going to lay down and give in, and Bama kind of like, I don't know what it was. Either they thought they were just going to lay down and give up, or they got a little ahead of themselves and thought, we're just going to cruise to this. I don't know. It just doesn't have that same like put the team out mentality that they've had before. So that's the thing. Are they going to find it? They've got who they have this. They have Tennessee this week. Big game.
It's a big test.
It's a big test going into the bye before arguably their biggest game of the year, relative to when they played Texas. So the next 2 weeks for them, 3 weeks technically, but their next two games it's their make or break of the season. Yep. So
and see,
they got to find it quick. They got to find it quick on what team, what is their identity? What team are they going to be?
Yep.
What's their identity? I think that's the biggest question mark for Alabama. Are they going to be a defensive stuff you team? Are they going to be a running team? Are they going to be a deep ball team? Like, they just have not figured out their identity yet, and I think they have to figure it out against Tennessee.
For sure. I agree with that. And I mean, I was texting Nathan this on Saturday. I mean, me and him were texting about this LSU Bama game. It's going to be a game. That's probably going to be.
It's going to be game of the year, just like last year.
High-powered offense versus one of the best defenses of college football. I'm not saying that they're top 5 right now. I would say top 10, in my opinion, that Bama has a top 10 defense. So I mean, that's going to be a big game. This Tennessee game is going to be weird because, I mean, I have it as the game that caught my eye is Tennessee Texas A&M, but in that Joe Milton didn't look comfortable. Joe Milton has not, in my opinion, lived up to what people thought he was going to be after Hendon Hooker. And they have to come to Bryant-Denny this year. So that's another big thing. We have our home advantage. They had us in Knoxville last year. They had our number, but they don't have Hendon Hooker. They don't have Jalen Hyatt. They don't have Tillman out on the outside as well. They don't have who they usually have on the outside. So I mean, it's a whole different Tennessee team as well.
Hey,
what'd you say, Nick?
Let's give Hendon Hooker his respect, because Milton has looked not great, and Hendon Hooker was a Heisman candidate in this offense. Hendon Hooker deserves his respect, man.
Oh yeah, I give Hendon Hooker
a chance one day.
Me too.
I
mean, the way Jared Goff's playing right now, but
it's not
I mean,
gonna happen anytime soon. But I hope he gets a chance one day.
And see, this Tennessee team can be good if Joe Milton figures it out. And I hate to put most of the blame on Joe, but I'm also going to put the blame on his wide receivers. I mean, you're wide open downfield, and Joe floats one. I mean, it was one play in the A&M game where he just floated a ball after getting hit, and it hit the wide receiver right in the hands, and he dropped it.
Yep.
I mean, that's things that you got to fix on Tennessee as well. But Bama does have to find an identity. I agree with you all on that. I think we can all agree that Bama has to find an identity for this team to be a legit threat in the SEC. But I think we all agree, it's a good win for Bama, undefeated in SEC play. We can move on from that one now.
Yes.
Because that game made me sweat bullets. I'm not going to lie. That second half, I was over here like, what are we doing?
I know the feeling playing Arkansas. I was doing the same freaking thing, dude.
Dude, yeah. I mean,
they just don't give up.
They never give up. Never give up.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, they can't get over that hump.
Can't get over the hump.
They can't get over the hump of just like they need that one play. They need one play in the LSU game, in the Ole Miss game. Every game, they just needed that one play to really send them into the win column.
Yep.
And they just couldn't get it. But I think the best years are ahead of Arkansas as well. But enough about that game. This next game is also very intriguing.
This is the last thing I'll say about the game. While Alabama did not play a great second half, they made plays when they had to, and that's a good sign. That's a really good sign. They made plays.
That is a good sign.
Yeah.
I'd also like to say that our kicker is the best player on our team. I've never in my life had to worry about the defense or offense on the field.
Bro,
I've always had to hold my breath with the kicker. Now I breathe. Just so smooth when my kicker hits.
All-time leading scorer in the SEC now. Did you see that?
Yeah, Will Riker, baby, let's go. First round pick.
Yeah, congrats.
I thought that was kind of crazy.
That's a cool stat.
It's like I think you know what, Saban must have sold his soul just to get a good kicker. That's why he'll never.
I think every Alabama team sold. I think every Alabama lovers sold their soul so we can get a kicker. It came at a price.
Came at a price.
Came at a price.
Not gonna win again. No, I'm just kidding. They're gonna probably still win.
But this next game is very intriguing.
Hey, like I said, bro, ACC might have a nice little championship game on its hands. Wait, they don't play each other in the middle of the season?
No, they play each other in the ACC championship.
It will have to be then and then only. This is beautiful.
That would be so awesome.
Hey, this is a beautiful thing that's happening in the ACC. You love to see competitive play in this conference. It's not been a long time since we've seen. They've got 4 teams with only 1 loss, and then you still got Clemson with only 2 losses. So it's a fun time. I mean, Miami with only 2 losses still too. It's a fun time for ACC, but we saw some two ACC teams battle it out. Out there in Raleigh, North Carolina. What a game it was. Chapel Hill. Why do I keep saying Raleigh? I
don't know.
Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where they won 41-31, guys. I'll start us off here real quick. Is this team a legit contender? Obviously, I'll send that to you in a second. I mean, everything's in front of this squad. This team is. Hey, what do y'all like?
No, Nolan you said this team is legit, and Nolan's over here like no.
Nolan wears his emotions on his sleeve.
I appreciate that.
Hey, Jake May though, he's a dog. He's really good. This running back, Hampton, unbelievably talented, 200 rushing yards in this game. This team is cooked, and offensively we know what they can do. Defensively, they're still not great. They're not going to be a all-time defense, but it's better than those last few seasons. I'll tell you that. They're not a historically bad defense anymore. Which, hey, if this team is a top 75 defense, they're going to be doing something. They could do something this season. And I'm actually trying to find, top 75. They're 54 in yards per game, and comparable to LSU over 400, USC at 400. They are only allowing 359, which, hey, that'll do. That'll do. This team doesn't score a lot of touchdowns, but hey, they win games, and that's all that matters. I like what North Carolina is doing. I love their coach. Their coach is is really talented, and he's the one everywhere he's been. And when you got a quarterback like this, anything is possible. And my thing with North Carolina is, can they beat a Florida State to get to the championship game? And obviously, everything's still in front of them. They still have to play some decent squads when it comes to Georgia Tech. Hey, they beat Miami, but Duke and Clemson, and Campbell. Campbell, that's a powerhouse.
Campbell, the Campbell Camels, man.
Campbell Camels. Dak Prescott. Oh my God, that was actually a good play. Oh my God, that was actually an amazing play.
Wait, hold up, I'm behind. What's happening?
Oh wow.
Hold up. Don't
what a
spoil
play.
anything.
Oh wow.
Hold up.
Sorry, everyone.
Oh my God.
I'm seeing this right now. Oh, go, Dak. Don't. Oh, look at you go. Pump fake. Oh, well,
dang, no.
Smacked.
He is
Oh, go. Oh, my God. Tony Pollard. Holy crap. Okay.
We all saw that.
Different variations of time.
Jack right now.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, that's really all I had in this one. This was another good game for North Carolina to just keep adding to their wins. They still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They still have 6 games left. They've already taken their bye. This is an interesting football season for the Tar Heels. This is the first time I can legitimately think that they actually have a chance to win the conference and actually make a playoffs. There's been years where we say this offense is good enough, but the defense is going to hold them back. I think this is the first time I can ever say that the North Carolina Tar Heels are actually a legit contender. Are they going to win a game? I don't know. But if they win out, beat Florida State, get some help, like Nolan said that some of these conferences might help some other teams out. This team might sneak right into the playoffs. I'm not saying that they're that caliber yet, but everything's in front of them. And with a quarterback like Drake May, hey, you can win any football game on any given Saturday.
Hey, man, I haven't seen a North Carolina quarterback this good since Mitch Trubisky.
Oh, Jesus. All right, that's it.
Right, second overall.
That's the end of the That is the end of the College Kings podcast.
We're going to be disbanding now.
This is the last episode. All right, so go ahead.
It's going under. Hey, all right. So I'll go first here because I really don't have too many comments on this game. I will say this is the one game I really did not pay attention to, so I apologize if I say anything casual.
We lost him.
Did I lose y'all?
No. Nope.
Oh, hang on. It froze up.
No.
It froze up. Sorry. All right. So my biggest thing is, I'm looking at their schedule. Are Duke and Clemson going to play spoiler to this team's season? Yep. I mean, that's just kind of what it comes. It's just kind of what it comes down to. And like you said, can they compete with a Florida State? I personally don't think they can this year. But I mean, they have the quarterback. And I will say this: they would be the sneakiest team to make the college football playoff that nobody's looking at.
Yep.
This team,
that's respectable.
They've got some good wins here, like the week 1 win. They beat the crap out of Minnesota, like Michigan did. Syracuse win. I mean, Syracuse, but whatever. And then Miami's just. They came off such an emotional loss. I'm not surprised that Miami lost.
The game make grown men cry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just completely this is terrible.
Like I feel like you need to disband the organization after that.
Yeah, honestly, somebody's got to get fired. But the best thing they have going for them is that they really don't have too many tough games left, but they have 2 games at the end of their schedule where you're like, okay, like these are the teams you got to beat to make it to the championship game. And if it's undefeated North Carolina versus undefeated Florida State, you've got everything you want right in front of you. So, just keep winning and you're going to find yourself in a position to go to the playoff.
Yep.
Drake May put himself back in the Heisman conversation for sure. These past few weeks, I think it's the month of October, he put over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. I mean, dude's been balling out. I think he's better than Caleb right now this season. In my opinion, Michael Penix and Drake May have taken over the position of who's the best quarterback right now. You can look at me like that all you want, but you go look back at these past few games Caleb has played, and go look at the past few games that Michael Penix and Drake May has played. They have
Trevor Lawrence had a couple bad games in college.
Yeah, but Trevor Lawrence also went on to win a national championship. What has Caleb done? Got booted out.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. Caleb had literally just gotten booted out.
What do you expect from the Pac-12?
I hate you. I hate you so much. But I mean, North Carolina's got an offense, dude. I feel like their offense is the only thing that is threatening to Florida State's defense right now. I feel like Florida State's defense going up against North Carolina's offense is going to be their biggest challenge, and same vice versa for North Carolina's offense going up against that defense. I mean, and we saw Florida State versus Clemson. Clemson's still no slouch. Clemson still has got some fight left in them. Duke is a very surprising team as well. But it all, I think we all said this, it all relies on the path that they pay for themselves, North Carolina. I mean, this team has everything. This team has explosive players on the outside. They have the quarterback. As you said, their running back is a stud right now. I think they're legit contenders right now to go win an ACC championship. But right now, Florida State is just proving everybody wrong coming into the season, living up to the hype that they were that was put on them. They had all that hype put on their shoulders and living up. They've had these rough games. North Carolina hasn't really had a rough game except Appalachian State, and that Appalachian State game was pretty good. But North Carolina ultimately came out on top. But I think North Carolina playing this game, it was only a 10-point game. It's weird that Miami, coming off of that just horrendous loss, decided to go out and play football again, play smart football. If they would have got the ball and won, they would have nailed it. But, I'm not going to hold my breath on Mario Cristobal's play calling. But I think North Carolina right now can make a legit shot. I agree with Nolan, them being the sneakiest team to make a playoff game right now. Because, as we said before, if Florida State if them and Florida State both go undefeated and they play in the ACC championship and either one beats each other, and it has to be by a certain amount, in my opinion. I think it has to be, you have to either win this game by a certain amount or you have to lose this game by a certain amount to still be like in the talk of making the playoffs. Because who knows, we could get 2 ACC teams in this conference in the playoffs, depending on how this game goes. So the ACC is very top heavy right now, with these 2 teams being the top of the conference. But I still think they can figure it out. I think they do need to figure stuff out on the defensive side of the ball a little bit more. I don't think they're giving up as many points as USC is, 29 points. Let's not forget that. I don't think they're letting up that many points or that many yards as USC is. But if they want to make it a game between Florida State, they have to figure out how to shut that explosive Florida State offense down. And that starts with Travis Hunter and Keon Coleman. Those are the 2 players that you ultimately need to shut down on that offense to have a chance. But in my opinion, they are legit contenders. Fix that defense a little bit more each week, and you can find yourself possibly in a college football playoff.
Yeah, we all agree. Everything's in front of that team, and hey, you never know what can happen in college football. Win some games, and you're right into a championship game that might elevate you into that top 4 playoff.
Oh my God, dude! I'm playing Dak Prescott right now, and I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose this. I'm gonna lose.
Are you losing?
I had 100. I have 111 points. He's got 15 points right now.
I told you he wasn't gonna get 20.
Red's at 104 points right now in fantasy. If I lose this game, I'll be mad. But I think that covers all of the recap games of the week, Nate.
Yeah, I think it does, but we gotta make one last little thing on this. What's one game that caught y'all's eye? Nolan, you start us off. What you got a game that caught your eye this weekend?
We're going to the Pac-12, baby, as we should, as we always will. We're going to the Pac-12. Talking about Colorado versus Stanford. Awesome game to watch. If you are any fan of offense, if you are any fan of comebacks, if you are just a football fan in general, this was a fun game to just have on your TV. Like the entire first half, it was like, okay, Colorado's got it figured out finally. It's against a team where it's like they should figure it out, and you're just like, all right, here we go. Colorado's doing the thing that we thought they were going to do, and then you start hanging out, watching. Okay, Stanford put some points on the board. And then about the time they hit the 97-yard, one-play touchdown, it was like, uh-oh. We got
momentum turned in that game.
We got a little something going here. And then I think they ended up getting like 3 touchdowns in like such a short time span where it turned into a 2-score game. And you were like, oh, my God, like they have like a chance here. And Colorado's offense just could not do anything. They just could not get anything going offensively consistently to like just put themselves in a position to win the game. And then all the momentum on Stanford's side, getting that game to overtime, and Shedeur. I personally thought after Stanford got the touchdown in the first overtime, they should have just went for 2 and just said, we live or die. But they kicked the PAT. It goes to overtime number 2. And Colorado gets the ball to start overtime number 2, and they get basically to the goal line, and Shedeur, I don't know what he had to be going in his head thinking, just give my guy a jump ball. But in that situation, that is not the decision to make. You got to take your 3 points there. Mm-hmm. And if you are going to say, I'm going to go for a jump ball, I'm going to throw it further, I'd rather it go out of the back of the end zone than it be short. So I'm saying you just got to launch that thing and hope maybe your guy comes down with it. You have to get 3 points in that situation because in overtime in college, if you're not getting 3 points, you might as well just it's over. So
Yeah.
it was an awesome game. That was kind of like my little recap. We don't have to really talk too much more about it. It was just a really, really cool game, and it was really good game for the sport, man.
Hey man, Pac-12 at night. Those are the fun games, man. I'm telling you.
Look, man, I was up till like 2 a.m. watching that freaking game, and I loved every minute of it.
A lot of people are like, Travis Hunter was the hype train because he plays both sides, but now a lot of people are saying that they really need to lower his snap count on him playing both sides of the ball.
He's the only reason they're in that one.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I mean, it's his second game back, and he had over 140 yards receiving. But he also had one of the nastiest catches in college football this season happen on him. Like literally, it was on his head.
I'm sorry. We got to give props. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Ayo Manor. How do you pronounce this dude's name from Stanford?
Oh God,
this is the wide receiver that caught the ball.
Yes, bro. Dude, he went crazy in this game, and Colorado could not stop a slant route to save their life, bro. It was like I think they had like 15 slant routes in this game, bro. All of them got like 10 yards. Ayo Manor. I don't know how to pronounce his name. 13 receptions for 294, bro. 13 catches, 294, 3 touchdowns. And the catch at the end of the game over Travis Hunter was it was the icing on the cake. It was like, have a day,
for sure.
Have a day. So
I mean, it's not even like he jumped it over him, dude. He just clapped that thing on the back of his helmet.
Yep.
I mean,
it was awesome.
That was dirty.
Just awesome game. Such a cool game. Such a cool game.
The game that caught my eye, Texas A&M and Tennessee, another great SEC battle. Texas A&M is there, man. Texas A&M is still there. They're still good. I don't like Jimbo Fisher. I don't have to like him, but I can like the team and what they did, especially coming off a loss against Bama. That was really bad. But they came out and showed, I mean, it wasn't like a bad loss, but I mean, a conference loss is bad. But I mean, coming out in this game, this defense is still good. Texas A&M's defense is lethal, especially it starts in that front line, it starts in that defensive line. Their pass rushers are absolutely insane. I'm talking about that front seven gets back to that quarterback almost every play, and they make so much trouble. They disturb the quarterback so much. That's why Joe and his wide receivers were having so many troubles of holding on to the ball or even catching the ball. Mm-hmm. As I said before, Joe Milton's not really living up to the hype or, to the promise of what the Vols fans and what the Vols fan base has been looking for, especially coming away from Hendon Hooker and him being a Heisman finalist. They have to lock in. I mean, they have to lock in for sure. That Florida loss is really big. That Florida loss is still hanging over their heads, in my opinion. But if Tennessee still wants to be alive, they have to step it up on offense, dude. Their defense played good. Their defense played decent. As I think most defenses in the SEC need to figure out their identity, because SEC ball used to be just straight defense, like defensive monsters. Like Missouri and Kentucky used to be defensive monsters at one point in the SEC. I mean, that was a long time ago, but I mean, still, it's the truth. Like SEC used to be one of the most dominant defensive conferences of all time, and it's just not showing it. And I mean, Texas A&M is one of the teams out there that is showing that they are a top defense in the SEC. But the Vols, in my opinion, need to figure out what they're going to do with Joe Milton and how they're going to distribute the ball a little better, how they're going to get him in more comfortable positions and more comfortable ways to get the ball out to the receivers. The receivers need a fix on dropping the ball. I know Joe Milton is not like your average pocket passer. I mean, he's a dual threat for sure who can launch it 90 yards. But, I mean, you have to be able to come down with the ball. And as I said, there was one play, Joe was in the pocket. He got hit, floats a ball, and I'm talking about it was over towards the sideline. If he catches the ball, it's nothing but green grass in front of him. You're taking that thing to the house. And it hits him right here, and he just drops it. And people are trying to blame that on Joe. I'm not going to blame that on Joe. I'm going to blame that on the wide receivers for not, doing what they were told to do and doing what they're coached to do, especially with all the hype coming in from last year, with Tennessee probably being one of the biggest threats in the SEC. They got to pick some things up. And I was talking to my boy Gabe, shout out Gabe, shout out Sully's. Gabe said that he's really there's word going around that Joe may be wanting to get benched. They may bench Joe. I highly doubt that happens. I don't think Gabe thinks that's going to happen. If you bench Joe Milton, your season's down to
good though.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they have Nico. Yeah, but do you want to put a true freshman out there during this time where you have one loss and you're going into a Bama game, and then after the Bama game you have a hard schedule in front of you? SEC is still hard. I mean, you don't want to put Nico out there. You're trying to groom him for next season because, I mean, Tennessee can recruit. Tennessee's got a great recruiting class coming into this year. But you have to figure out on that offensive side of the ball, mostly in the passing game, their run game. I don't know who the running back was, number 0. He was doing what Bucky Irving was doing, dude. He was dropping shoulders and getting every yard, churning them legs, pushing the pile.
Yep.
But I mean, this game was, once again, very entertaining game. There were some questionable calls in this game for sure that could have went either way for both teams. Respect to A&M for staying in this game. Max Johnson is the starting quarterback, in my opinion, probably for this, obviously for the remainder of the season. Probably if he stays next season, he'll be the starting quarterback. I mean, he just has so much game experience coming from LSU as well. But that was the game that caught my eye. Tennessee has a big test when they travel to Alabama this Saturday. It's going to be a big one. I think it's going to be another good game. I don't think it's going to be a repeat from last year. I don't think it's going to be high scoring, but I do think that Tennessee needs to figure out what they're going to do in the passing game for sure, and getting Joe more comfortable in the pocket more than likely. But that was the game that caught my eye the most.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was, first of all, yeah, great. I totally like that pick. I watched that one, and that was an amazing game to watch. And for me, there was a couple games I went between. One game surprised me the most, and I'm going to throw them in there, not talk much about them. And then there's one game that it was two teams that have no real chance to make a conference championship. But it was an amazing game to watch if you witnessed it. I didn't watch it fully, so I had to rewatch the first pretty much. I watched the end of the first half and the entire second half. But the first game, that just shocked me. Arizona Wildcats destroyed the Washington State Cougars 44-6. Could not believe what I witnessed in that one. Fafita is an absolute dog of a freshman quarterback.
Telling you, best 3-loss team of the country right now.
Hey, dude, that dude, give him a year. Next year, Arizona might be a little bit of a squad. I don't know what conference they're moving to, because I know they're not among those two teams. Let me look that up real quick. Wait,
where Arizona's moving?
Yeah, Big 10 is Big 12.
I think they're going to the Big 12.
Yes. Big 12 for Arizona. That's awesome, I think. Fafita is a legit quarterback. True freshman.
Oh, yeah.
He balled against USC. He balled in this one. 342, 34-43. I mean, he is so good. And they beat the snot out of a legit top 25 team in the country. Just wanted to give my respects to Arizona. Not much else to say about that one. But when it comes to an amazing football game and a guy that I have disrespected for a little too long, I think. Big play. Oh.
Yeah,
dude. I think they just got a turnover.
I think it hit Dallas on the punt.
Oh, he muffed it.
Oh, that's big.
Wait. Is that interference since he bumped his player into him?
I think it's since he blocked.
Oh, that's totally it. That's gotta be right because
they may have overturned that one. But no,
the Chargers guy hit him. Threw him into the player.
If there is a game that just is awesome, that you want to turn a game on that you don't care who's playing, but you want to watch some fun, good football. And like I said, I've disrespected this man for too long. The Florida Gators beating the South Carolina Gamecocks 41-39. This game was awesome.
That was a good game.
It was awesome. Early on, Florida gets ahead. South Carolina responds. They kind of go back and forth. And then at the end of this game, South Carolina gets a 10-point lead with about 9 minutes left, 37-27. South Carolina misses a 2-point conversion to put them up 38-27. I don't know what it was about that, but everything changed after that moment. And Florida goes out there and makes a 10-point comeback and wins this one 41-39. Yes, there was a safety at the end of the game. I had turned it. I don't remember exactly how it happened. I think Florida just walked into the end zone or threw it to the end zone. But what a game it was for Graham Mertz. Like I said, I've disrespected him for too long. 30-48.
I think we've all disrespected
Yes.
Graham Mertz because, I mean, coming out of Wisconsin, bro, he was just not good.
Dude, he is one of the best, and he's not he is not the best quarterback. I will never say that. But he is very accurate, and he is smart with the football. Where is it at? He is... I had it pulled up and I deleted it. His completion percentage is insanity this year. He is throwing. That's not it.
I thought you were going to say 84%.
Yeah, I looked at home games. He's cooking in home games, 83% in home games. But on the season, 76% completion percentage. He is an absolute, just accurate quarterback. I love to see, him kind of getting an opportunity to kind of take control of this team. And he's only a junior. He'll be back next year. Who's not to say that Florida can't make a little bit of some moves over this offseason and kind of make a run for this thing next year in the.
Hey man, they still have to play Georgia. Like that Georgia game's going to be fun without Brock.
I'm telling you, man. This team, what they did in this game and what they've done all season to kind of rebound after some first game of the season, tough loss, and then you go on for the throughout the year, and it's hard to bounce back, and then you lose to a Kentucky big time. It feels like this team's kind of playing with house money now in offense, and just they're gonna let him rip the ball. They got some good players on the outside. What a game it was, though. That's all I really wanted to say. Florida, they were with 2 minutes. What is it? I had it right here. 2 minutes and 43 seconds. South Carolina was 87% chance to win this game with 2 minutes left in this game.
That's such a killer.
Wow.
And then,
Wow.
and then all of a sudden, they just took over and won.
Look at it. LSU and Florida both have the same both have the same record. And they've kind of gone. LSU and Florida have also kind of gone through trials and tribulations with teams that they played. Beating Tennessee at home was a big win. That's a really big win for Florida. Losing to Kentucky, y'all losing to Florida State, getting a big win. Who was y'all's big win against? Crap. Man.
They have a big win. Missouri.
Missouri
was a top. Missouri was a top-ranked team, and then
it's probably our biggest win.
Florida lost to Kentucky, and they lost to who else did Florida lose to? They lost to another team.
Utah,
I know they did.
Beginning of the year.
Yeah, Utah. They lost to that. So you could obviously say LSU is the better team than Florida, but there's also points in that Florida team. Yeah, there's kind of some similarities in that. I honestly would say that, besides letting up 39 points, Florida probably has a tiny bit better of a defense than LSU. I wouldn't say that, but y'all have the offense to be explosive as well. We'll just have to see what happens. I really did like that game, though. That game was explosive for sure.
It's fun to watch. If you love football, it was a fun game to just flip to, and all of a sudden you see this is an amazing game. You watch it and you say, dang, that was worth my time. But, yeah, those are my guests. A couple of my games that, just caught my eye. That'll do us for the recap this week. We went long on this recap, boys. We had a lot to say. So, we did. Let's get
It was a good recap. It was a good recap.
Amazing recap, boys. But let's get through this. We got the playoff. Well, actually, this is our top 6 teams in our Heisman watch. I'll start us off here when it comes to our top 6 teams in college football right now. Last week I got a little aggressive. I'm going to start 6-1. I got a little aggressive, last week with one of these teams, and I had to drop them down and, put them back in reality where I think they are right now. I'm putting the Oklahoma Sooners at 6 right now. Very good squad. They had the bye week, and, no disrespect, but there were some teams that got some big-time wins against, and it was against teams they should have beat, but they beat them down. And, a team that, got a big-time win against a really good opponent had to jump into this top 6 for me. So, Oklahoma Sooners at 6. Number 5, the Ohio State Buckeyes. They beat the snot out of their opponent this week, and as they should have. This team, Purdue is no world beaters, 2-5 now in the season, 41-7. But this was Kyle McCord's probably most consistent game he's had as the Buckeyes quarterback. 276, 3 tuds. You love to see that from an improving quarterback every week. Offense looked really good.
Not until next week. We are Penn State, baby, coming for them.
Hey, Penn State. First of all, I want to say that they're not in my top 6, but the only team in the country allowing less than 200 yards a game. The next closest is Michigan, allowing 233. So that just shows how insane this defense is playing right now for Penn State.
I would also like to say this. Nolan may be hitting on the Pac-12 right now, but I guarantee you if Penn State comes out with an L, I'm not going to hear the end of it. Nolan has always wanted to tell me Penn State is the biggest disappointment of every year for me. And they kind of are. I'm not going to lie. They kind of are, but this year's different. This year's different.
Yeah, he says that every year too, but I actually kind of agree with him this year. I'm very excited to see this game, Penn State. This year does feel like, okay, you've got the coach, you've got the quarterback. Let's see what we can do here. I got a good feeling about Penn State this year.
Yeah, James Franklin.
Thank you.
Cannot win these games, but I'm hoping he can finally pull it off. I like James Franklin. I think he can do it. Give him a chance. He's got a team. He's got a quarterback. But yes, Ohio State at number 5 for me here. Number 4, like I've said in the past pods, this might be the most talented team in the country. Might is a very strong word there because there is a team I do believe that is probably more talented. Austin Eckler, Tutty? No, what a tackle. Oh, that's got to suck for Nolan.
Oh, I lost, by the way. I lost.
Yeah, hey, Dak Prescott pick. He could. You might be right back in it. You never know.
I thought you just said he threw a pick. I was about to cry.
Brandon Staley is 120% going for this on 4th down. There is no doubt in my mind he's gonna go.
He's absolutely going for this.
Austin Eckler? Nope.
Yeah, he's like. There's no doubt in my mind here. This is a masterclass. Michael Parsons sack here. Sorry, we're gonna give you a little comment. Oh, this chick's amped. She's pumped.
When the drinks are flowing, the blood starts going.
They're gonna have to take a timeout. All right, Chargers suck. But yes, number 4. I've said this team.
She is pumped up. My God,
she was amped, bro. She was ready.
She was amped, bro.
She was ready.
Good Lord. Oh my God. I smell a little booger sugar in her life.
Oh, is that what it is?
A little bit of booger sugar right there.
It might be.
But no, number 4 for me. Like I've said in the past pods, this is one of the most talented teams in the country. Florida State Seminoles. I like this team. This team's improving every week. Offensively, they're getting better. Defensively, they are just stout. Players everywhere. Don't have to beat a dead horse on that team. Florida State, number 4. I've liked them all year. I'm going to give you a little commentary here on 4th down and goal. Y'all are going to be behind me. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Are they really going for it, though? Yes. Oh, my God. Of course they are.
Was there a question that they were going for it?
Oh, they're going
I mean, kind of. There's 7 minutes left in the game.
Got it.
No.
Got it.
Is it Austin Eckler?
Nope. Oh,
is it Keenan Allen?
She's so happy. She's so happy.
Did they go back to her?
She's so happy. All right. But yes, number 3 for me, my favorite team in the country, and they might be my pick to win it all. The Washington Huskies are here, and they're going to stay. We are number 3 in my rankings right now. Can't put them number 1, even though they might have the most impressive win. Oh, it is we.
It's we. Nolan. He's betraying your Tigers, man.
Hey, I've been on this team all year. We're not jumping off the bandwagon yet. This team's going to win the Pac-12. They're going to beat USC. They're going to win the Pac-12. They're going to make this playoffs, and they're going to upset the world. Michael Penix, Heisman, trying to take that first overall spot as well. It won't happen because Caleb Williams is that guy. But, yes, number 3, Washington. I'm keeping them in this top 4 for as long as I can. Number 2, I got the Georgia Bulldogs.
You have Georgia?
I have the Georgia Bulldogs at number 2.
Oh, my God. Finally, somebody agrees with me.
Georgia is great. Georgia is still the defending champs, and they deserve all the respect they have gotten this year. I've kept them at number 1, even through weird games, and they allowed a touchdown to Vandy first drive of the game. Sorry, they're not the best now. They've lost Brock Bowers. This is a thing where I'm going to be looking at that specifically for the
Desmond Howard. Here to see my college football collection.
Impressive stuff.
Sorry.
Shout out to Geico.
There's Geico.
Yeah, for real, Geico.
Jesus, that scared the crap out of me again.
It scared me too, bro.
I thought I was a schizophrenic.
This has happened so many times.
I was hearing things when I was at Nukes earlier today, bro. I swear. I was going schizo over here.
But yeah, Georgia, no disrespect at all, but I think the best team in the country, without a doubt, most talented. They are so well coached. They have all the skill players. They have a quarterback that is experienced now. That's the keyword, experienced now. And he is a Heisman candidate as well. Michigan Wolverines at number 1 for me. All the respect in the world, those top 2 teams. They are number 1. And they're 1A and 1B at this point still, but I got to give my respect to the Wolverines at this point. CDM,
Gotcha.
what's your 6 through 1?
Okay. So at number 6, I'm going to put Oklahoma right there. Had the bye week. Still a very good team coming off a very big dub. I have them at number 6. At number 5, I have Florida State.
Okay.
Just, there's so many good teams ahead of them right now. I'm just going to bump them down one spot. At number 4, I have Ohio State. I'm not sold on Ohio State right now. I'm really not. It's just because they have these close games and then they'll go out one week and just blow a team out, have a close game and blow a team out. Very inconsistent right now compared to what Michigan and Penn State, compared to what those 2 teams are doing. Those 2 teams are just blowing everybody out of the water.
Yep.
So Ohio State at 4. At 3, I'm going to take the Washington Huskies. One of the most explosive teams right now in the country, in my opinion, the best offense in the country. Best quarterback in the country. They have everything
this
that they need.
Is insane, bro. I think you might be right, Carson, about this chick.
Booger Sugar? Oh yeah, probably. But I got
crazy.
Washington at 3. At number 2, taking the Dogs at number 2, man. I just don't. They're not the same Georgia team from the past 2 years, and that's the thing. I know back when we were talking about them, you said Stetson Bennett had that clutch gene, and as much as I want to agree with that, I have to go with what I saw. Stetson Bennett had the best defenses those 2 years.
That is very true.
He had first round talent on both of those defenses. So I mean, yeah, you're gonna have a clutch gene, but if your defense is just shutting teams out like they did to TCU and what they did to who they played last year, I mean that Ohio State game last year was the national championship. Nobody can tell me otherwise.
Yes.
But Georgia right now has some question marks, and now that losing Brock for 4 to 6 weeks is pulling in. We'll see what happens, but Georgia at number 2. And then at number 1, I'm taking the team that has only allowed 10 points a game.
Unbelievable.
Probably in the best conference right now. I mean, honestly, sooner or later, I think we're going to see 3 Big Ten teams in the top 5 or the top 4. Depending after this week if Penn State can get it done in Columbus. But I'm going to take Michigan at 1. Michigan is playing really good ball, even though they lost John for 3 games. They still didn't lose a step. Jim. I keep forgetting them mixed up. My bad. Yeah. They lost Jim for 3 games for a suspension, but they didn't lose a step those 3 games that they didn't have them. And then they get them back and the offense is more opened up. Play call is a lot better. Did you see that Edwards entered the transfer portal?
Really?
The running back behind Cade McCorum. Yeah. Entered the transfer portal.
He's been losing his snaps. I get it.
I mean, the fact of the matter is I thought they would split snaps with him and Cade, because when Cade went down last year, Edwards just went off. I mean, he looked like the number 1 back.
The number 2 back, but I mean, he is very lower, much lower.
He's losing snaps, but he entered the transfer portal. But those are my top 6 teams. Oklahoma. I got Oklahoma, Florida State, Ohio State, Washington, Georgia, and Michigan ending up at 1. Nolan, what do you got, brother?
All right. Run through mine. We all kind of agreed on Oklahoma being number 6.
Okay.
Thinking that's a good spot for them. And I put Florida State at number 5. I bumped them down 1. The worthy wins are just not there anymore. And the LSU win, while it was impressive, it's not looking as insane as it did week 1. So I'm gonna their best win is that, and it's not like it's a bad win, but I think I'm gonna push them back 1. I'm gonna put Washington at number 4.
Oh my God, dude, I think she's legit crying right now.
She's insane.
I think she's literally crying.
She's insane.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she going crazy. I've got Washington at number 4.
Okay.
The reason for that is they do have a nice win now, but I just don't think Ohio State deserves to be moved away from number 3 yet. You talked about Ohio State being wishy-washy. They've only had one close game this year, and it was to Notre Dame. And Notre Dame is the one that dethroned Golden Boy over there.
Well,
at USC.
I mean, I think they're pretty inconsistent when it comes to some games. I mean, the Maryland game, you have to admit that Maryland game was kind of iffy. That Maryland game was
understand,
iffy.
But
The
they
beginning
won by 20.
Hey, at the beginning, I know they beat Indiana by 20, but you have to remember that first game against Indiana they were not the Ohio State that we were used to seeing.
I understand.
But also like they don't have CJ Stroud anymore. But I understand your reason of not moving them from 3. They haven't done anything to not be moved.
That's my whole point, is that they just haven't done anything to lose it, and they beat the crap out of freaking Purdue this past week. So maybe they're starting to figure some things out.
Yeah, they're getting better every week.
So that's where I got them that, and then so then I got Washington at 4, Ohio State at 3. I'm gonna keep Michigan at 2, just because like I did for Ohio State, where it's like they haven't really done anything. Michigan hasn't beat a worthy opponent yet, unfortunately. There just hasn't been anyone where it's like, oh yeah, well, that's a really good win to take it away from Georgia quite yet for me. Georgia has had some wishy-washy games.
And I agree with that 110%. Like they haven't really beat anybody. It's just the fact that they're just dominating on the defensive side of the ball.
Michigan, I have Michigan winning the Big Ten, and I have no disrespect to y'all for changing it, but that's my reason, is just they haven't beaten anybody worthy. And I'm not saying Georgia has, but the SEC is a little bit better than what they've played here. You know what I'm saying?
Michigan has played literally nobody, but they've also.
I'll tell you, their most impressive. Like, there's literally no one here where you're like, oh my god. No, Minnesota is.
Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing, dude.
No one's on the schedule like, oh my god, that's a team,
bro. I mean, that's what I'm
like
saying.
literally, bro. They don't play anybody until
Penn State.
They don't play anyone until Penn State.
That's at Happy Valley too. It's in Penn State, so that's an even bigger game.
Me and CDM have said it though. Like, we talk about cupcake schedules. This is the most cupcake.
This is a cupcake schedule, bro.
Oh, I want to hear that. Georgia's is cupcake. They're just making it harder on themselves.
No, Georgia's is cupcake on SEC standards, but it's better. It's better than
at least they're playing SEC teams. These Big Ten teams are not good, man.
Big Ten teams aren't good. The best Big Ten teams.
Penn and Ohio.
Yeah, that's about it. But
so you got Georgia. That's what I got for that. I got Georgia at number 1. I just feel like they haven't done anything to deserve to lose it quite yet. And truthfully, it's not necessarily they haven't done anything to lose it. It's that I don't think anyone has been able to take it yet. Like, Michigan hasn't beat a worthy opponent. Ohio State really hasn't beat anyone worthy yet either. It's just, and the champs just haven't been dethroned yet, in my opinion. So that's kind of it for me.
I hear you, man. I like it. I respect it. And I think we're all right on our own opinions. Hey, let's get into our Heisman watch here. Top 5 squads.
The saddest thing in the world. I gotta find a headset. My AirPods are almost dead, bro.
What was this? Hey, all right, hang on one sec. We're gonna take a quick little break. We're gonna get Nolan some headsets, and we'll be right back. All right, everyone. Welcome back to College Kings. We are back. Nolan has his beats now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Jesus.
Yes. Hey. Hey, we're in our Heisman watch, boys. Let's get right into this. No lollygagging around. CDM, you want to start us off on this one?
Yes, I do, actually. Okay, I'm going to go from 5 to 1.
Okay.
So at number 5, I have somebody new making his Heisman watch debut. I've got J.J. McCarthy at number 5. Right. Playing smart football right now. I think he is part of one of the best team in the country right now, in my opinion. So if he keeps doing what he's doing, keeps playing smart ball, he could find himself in New York to claim that award. At number 4, I'm taking Drake May. At number 4. Dude's killing it. Obviously, second best quarterback in the scouting combine right now, but I think he's starting to get that edge a little bit more on Caleb if Caleb does not improve as well. Drake May at 4. At 3, I got Dylan Gabriel at 3, just because coming off that big, humongous win against Texas, still one of the most explosive, one of the most unpredictable quarterbacks in the country, because you don't know how he could win it. But I got Dylan right there. At 2, got y'all's boy. I got Jaden Daniels at 2. You can't have you got to have him, dude. I'm sorry. He is balling out. And I've told y'all this all season. If you do not have Jaden Daniels on that team, y'all are nothing.
We're not.
Sorry.
No.
Y'all are nothing if y'all don't have Jaden Daniels. And y'all
dude.
be
He's playing so good.
Yeah, about to say be free to correct me, but I feel like y'all would agree that if you don't have him, and no disrespect to Nussmeier is really good behind him. He's got some experience, but
He's raw.
Jaden Daniels is carrying it right now. And then at number one, I've got the man, the myth, the legend, the future Heisman winner, Michael Penix Jr. at number 1. Dude is an athlete. I'm talking about freak of nature. Putting the ball where he needs to be. He's given me, if I were to compare him to a quarterback, I would say, and this is not me being a homer, this is just me being like looking at the play, I would compare him to Tua when Tua was in college. Such a prolific passer, completion leader, puts the ball where it needs to be, puts the ball downfield and puts it to where his wide receivers can make a play. Once again, I didn't mention this. Washington has three receivers that average 15 yards a reception each game. I mean, that's insane, and that comes from a great quarterback play as well. So that's why I think that
100 yards a game, three receivers.
Yeah, three wide receivers with 100-yard games. Like, that's insane. So that's why I think that's why he's the captain of, in my opinion, the best offense in college football right now. But JJ at 5, Drake at 4, Dylan at 3, Jaden at 2, and Michael Penix is the leader at 1. Nolan, you want to tell us who your top 5 is?
Yeah, I'll go with my top 5. So I'm gonna go 5-1 like Carson did. I got Jordan Travis as number 5 for me. He's kind of been on the radar. I know the stats are not quite as good as some of the other guys, but I got Jordan Travis sticking around in there at number 5. His team is playing really, really well. One of the best offenses in college. So I think that if his stats can start, if he can really start taking over as the guy, he can take a real chance at getting this Heisman this year. Number 4. The stats don't lie for this guy, and he's been balling out. J.J. McCarthy is in my top 5 for
I like
Heisman.
that. I like that.
I've always been a little bit, I wouldn't say a hater of J.J., but I've always been a little bit of a doubter on J.J.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see him play against a worthy opponent because he's got good numbers and he deserves to be in the conversation, but man, he's doing it against freaking plumbers right now, dude. It's like he's like used car salesman in a couple of years, bro. It's just like it's like
playing against people who would be behind a counter is what you're saying.
Yeah,
right?
it's like
take
dude,
your order, sir.
I've eventually got to get this guy out in front of some guys that are gonna be playing on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like
fair.
But like I said, not a hater. I'm just a doubter.
Chick-fil-A
but he's in my
workers.
top 5. He's in my top 5. His numbers are really good. Number 3, I'm gonna put Jaden Daniels at number 3. Got Jaden at number 3. If he had one more win over a loss, I mean, I'd put him at number 1. But with that loss and just his team overall, it feels like some of his numbers are inflated because of how he's had to keep his team in games as well.
Fair.
So I think that that's part of it. But that doesn't take anything away from the fact that man is an absolute baller, bro. Like his biggest flaw is getting down because he cannot take the hits that he's taking right now in the NFL. But man, he's not all running. He can really throw the football, man. He's got accuracy and he's got ball placement, and it's been really fun to watch. At number 2, I'm gonna put Dylan Gabriel. At number 2. Impressive start to the season. He's got some good wins, and just feel like he deserves to be in that top 2 spot, especially with where he's positioned his team when it comes to playoff push and within the Big 12. And then, as everyone else in college football has right now, somewhat prisoner of the moment, but it doesn't really matter because this guy is a baller.
He is.
This guy's a baller. He's got beautiful accuracy, but we'll see what happens after they lose to USC probably. Michael Penix Jr. is number 1. That's right. I can't not hate. But he balled out. He had a really, really good game. But Bo Nix did too. But he had a really, really good game. And it's definitely his to lose at this moment. But I still think that it is very much up in the air.
Yeah. I mean, I love your list, man. We have very similar lists. Can't say much else about it, man. Yeah, and I'm not going to go too long on this. Number 5 for me, Drake May. He came into the season as possibly the number 2 guy in college football on a lot of draft boards. And weird start. He's right back into this race. He is that guy. He is still going to be, his best days are in the NFL. I mean, his game is going to transfer so well to whatever team drafts him. I just can't wait to see it. And for me at number 4, got to give respect to J.J. McCarthy. I'm with Nolan here. I've always, it's not even doubt. It's just I needed to see it. I need to see him make the big plays in the big moments, and I've yet to see it. And like you said, he's playing against nobodies, yes, and we need to see him play against legitimate defenses, top 25 defenses by all means. Give me something. And we haven't got to see that yet. So I want to see him play against legit guys, but he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing to nobodies, and that is beating the snot out of them. So J.J. McCarthy, I got to respect that man. He has really turned around my thoughts on what kind of a quarterback he can be at the next level. Number 3, I'm going to agree with Nolan here. Jaden Daniels, the man, the myth, the legend, might be the best quarterback in the country when it comes to eye test. But like Nolan said, losses are losses. He was not able to carry this team far enough. Yes, it is a team sport by all means, but man, he is unfreaking real. He is playing at such a different level. Like, I knew Jaden would be good. I didn't think he'd be this damn good.
I didn't expect this either. His passing has come a long way. Last year he was so shy to throw the ball.
Yes.
He was so nervous to make a mistake. This year he is just ripping it. I'm sorry, you could argue he's been playing the best in the country.
You can.
But when it comes to Heisman, it's just, it's a win-loss award just as much as it is skill award.
100%, man. I mean, you dang near have to win your conference oh God. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. The group chat text. But yes, I mean, hey, no, Jaden Daniels is that guy. He is so. Oh, pick.
No. I need Austin.
It's over, Nolan.
Oh, that's tough.
That's a big win for Dallas.
That is a big win for Dallas.
No, that ball hit the ground. That ball totally hit the ground.
I don't think so, Nolan. Oh, this chick, she is so sad. She might start. Yeah, she's gonna cry. Let's see. Hang on. Commentary on this game as well here. Justin Herbert drops back. Pressure up the middle. That's Micah Parsons' sack. What a play there by Micah Parsons to put it down.
Once again, respect to Dallas to go out and get Stephon Gilmore, bro. That dude still has so much left in the tank.
What a play by Stephon, the vet. Yep, that's definitely pick on. It did not hit the ground.
Oh, wow, dude. She is going through all sorts of emotions right now.
She's in pain. But yeah, man. I mean, give respect to Jaden. It's a hell of an interception. But Jaden Daniels, he would be the Heisman if they had not lost to either Florida State or Ole Miss, in my opinion. You could put him there with one loss, but not enough. I believe this award is also plays in it ties together and is this guy your team? Like, is this guy carrying? And like you said, Carson, this team would be dang near nothing without him, and that's why he has to be in this top 5. I mean, I think Hugh Freeze said it last week before the game. Like, if he's not in your Heisman race, you're an idiot. Like, this guy is unfreaking real. Like, he does so much for your, like, he makes it so hard.
Creates so many problems.
I mean, it's insane. And like you said, Nolan, his improvement with the passing game just adds that extra element to his game. And I didn't think he'd be an NFL quarterback. I truly believe he will be an NFL quarterback, but he does not. He needs to stop taking the hits. That's going to be a thing he learns. Number 2, Dylan Gabriel. Like I said in the last pod, he has had the one Heisman moment before last week. His Heisman moment was the first one of the season when it comes to quarterbacks, and, man, he did it in a whole drive to beat the Texas Longhorns. Got to give him his respect. He is still that guy at number 1, the new guy on the block with his first Heisman moment, and it's his first. He's still got to have to make a couple more, to secure this award. His first Heisman moment is getting that touchdown to take the lead on the Oregon Ducks after everything that happened during that game. You lose the lead after, your team outplayed them, and Oregon should have been ahead by more with the dumb decisions they made, and you're still in this game. You put that all behind you. You had an interception in the game. Doesn't matter. You make the biggest play of the game, throw into your best receiver. that's what Heismans do, show up in the biggest moments. He is so talented. Michael Penix Jr. is number 1 in my Heisman watch. All right.
that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey,
I like it.
Let's get to these playoff predictions, get some game picks, and get the hell out of here. We've got a long pod on our hands here, so we're going to try and speed through the rest of this. Our second official playoff prediction, this is what we think will happen at the end of the season after all the conference championship games. Me and CDM dropped our first ones last week. We're dropping our second ones this week. This is Nolan's first official one. We're gonna get some. I think we'll get some heat in here between the boys. Which conference is gonna get left out? That's the big question. The Power 5.
Not the Pac-12.
Power 5. Only 4 teams make it. CDM, start us off.
Okay, at number 4, I have the Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay.
I have Georgia at number 4. Okay. At number 3, I've got the Oklahoma Sooners. Boomer Sooner. I think they can get it done. At number 2, I've got the team that is coming off the hype train right now. We've got the Washington Huskies at 2. We have the Pac-12 making the college football playoffs. And then at number 1, I've got Michigan. I think Michigan wins the Big Ten unless Penn State comes into play. I'm still a little iffy on that because I do want to put Penn State in here. But Michigan right now is that team at number 1. So Michigan at 1, Washington at 2, Oklahoma at 3, and Georgia at 4.
How do you have Georgia fall into 4?
They lose the SEC championship?
Losing the SEC championship to a team that can't make the playoff?
No. They lose. No. They lose in like the regular season, so they lose to like Ole Miss or Tennessee. They win out, go and beat Bama, but all these other teams are undefeated.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and then all these other teams are probably undefeated. Yeah, it could totally happen for sure.
It could happen. I was just curious how they could be it. Yeah, that makes sense though. I can see it.
All right.
Yeah.
Nolan, what you got for your first?
All right, my final 4. I noticed that you left for Florida State and North Carolina out of your top 4.
It's just like, I don't know. The 4 teams that I have right now are just on the hottest, like they're on a hot streak right now for sure. Florida State's kind of simmering down right now for sure. But once again, it could change. I think I had Florida State in it last week.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens for sure.
We'll see. The reason I say that is because I got Florida State. My top 4 is pretty straightforward. Florida State is number 4. I think they'll just win out. Oklahoma ends up number 3, and then I got Michigan winning the Big Ten at number 2, and then Georgia doesn't do anything wrong, ends up winning out, wins the SEC championship. They stay at number 1. Like I said, pretty basic, but that's kind of the way I see it folding. I mean,
you left the conference out.
I did. Florida State did anything to lose their spot.
Oklahoma's.
So did Washington just like die?
Like I've told you, I think that the Pac-12 teams are going to end up beating each other up. I think the Pac-12 teams are just going to beat each other up.
That's a legitimate reason.
I mean, that's legit for sure. You can
argument.
That's a very fair.
You could. I mean, honestly, it's happening right now.
Like, it happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the way I see it happen, and I think that the Pac-12 beats each other up too much, and then these 4 teams. Honestly, I could see all of them. I think the easiest way for all these 4 teams to make it is they all go undefeated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think all these teams are going to be undefeated in my top 4, and I think that's going to be first time ever, like we said earlier in the pod. And I find it hard to believe that's actually going to happen. Like, that could happen. But right now, it's so hard to pick these 4 teams. And like CDM said, he switched his up from last week. I want to switch mine up. I'm going to hold strong on my 4 teams that I had last week. I didn't see anything this week to change anything for me. Maybe placement is the only thing I'm changing here. Number 4, I got the Florida State Seminoles. I'm high on this team. I like this team so much. I've said it 1,000 times. I like their talent a lot. And they are I really think they can win the championship this year if they can get hot at the right time. Number 3, my Washington Huskies are going to be there at number 3. I still love them. They're still my favorites. But this matchup in the first round is very tough, and I will have a very hard time picking them against a fully healthy Georgia Bulldogs with Brock Bowers at number 2 in my playoff prediction here. That is a hell of a matchup if we get Georgia versus Washington in the first round of the playoffs.
That'd be awesome.
Good Lord.
Unfreaking real matchup. Wouldn't that be amazing to watch? And then that leaves me with my last team, the Michigan Wolverines, which would be another amazing matchup in the first round between them and FSU. I mean, it feels almost stupid not to pick Michigan to win the Big Ten. I have a lot of respect for Penn State. I'm going to root for Penn State because
I'm rooting for Penn State, but Michigan's too good this year.
We all love them, but until I see something that's a team score more than 10 points on this team, I know like they said they play nobody, but I got to see it to believe it. This defense is unreal. Offense is getting better every week. Michigan's number one for me. All right.
Michigan goes undefeated. They probably have a really good chance of taking number one from Georgia. So I don't disagree with you flipping Michigan and Georgia. They'll have
the bigger wins, and that's my biggest point. Even though I have Michigan number one right now, but
I agree.
It's one of those things.
I agree.
It's they're gonna have such an amazing schedule. I mean, resume once the season's over if they pull it off. All right. Let's get this thing over with, boys. Let's get to these game prediction, game picks for this upcoming week. We are already in week 8. What in the hell is happening? I remember week 1 like 2 days ago. Insane that the football is just flying by. It always does, and we always take it for granted. I love this sport, and like we said earlier, CDM still has a 1-win lead on me on these records. When it comes to
continuing that streak this weekend.
This bum's he's gonna go 0 for 5. Let's be honest.
Man, I know you just not calling me a bum. I'm literally winning.
0 for 6. 0 for 6.
0 for 6 this week. If I go 0 for 6, I'm not going to come on the podcast next week. That would be embarrassing. Oh my God! I want to show my face out in public.
That would probably be very embarrassing, Carson. Let's try not do that. We're rooting for each other here. No more beating around the bush. Let's get right into these games, man. Let's get this pod over with. We've got a big one to start in the Pac-12, Nolan's favorite conference, with Washington State at Oregon. The Oregon Ducks are 20-point favorites on this team that lost big time to the Arizona Wildcats last week. 60-point over-under. CDM, start us off in this one.
Let's see. Washington State at Oregon. I'm going to take Oregon, man. They're going to be coming with a fire. They're going to be coming with some more passion. I feel like play calling should be a lot more better, especially not going up against such a tough – I wouldn't say such a tough opponent. I mean, I don't want to put too much disrespect on them, but they did just get blown out by Arizona. But I'm going to take Oregon. I'm going to take Oregon winning 35-14.
Okay, so you got the cover as well. Nolan, what you got in this one? You see them covering in this one?
Yeah, that's where we're a little bit different. I do have Oregon winning this game. I think Oregon needs to, they're going to come out and show, that they're going to come out and be like, we still want to win this conference, but I got them winning 34-17.
Okay, so you got a cover for the Washington State Cougars. I'm going to agree with you on this Washington State cover. I think Washington State is going to play their butts off to not lose by 20. 20 is a lot of points, even though I do believe Oregon can do that to a lot of teams.
I think Oregon can do it, but
that's a lot of points, man. And Washington State, 2 weeks ago, were sleepers in the Pac-12, and now they lose 2 massive games and just get blown out. Cam Ward's not looked great at all the last 2 weeks. I think they're going to play with some fire. This is a pretty big rivalry game. Wazoo's going to play their butts off. I think it's going to be a fun game for a while, and then Oregon will just put the gas pedal on them on offense and on defense. Give me the Oregon Ducks 40-23. Ole Miss at Auburn. I'll start us off on this one. Ole Miss is a 6-point favorite, over under 56.5. Ole Miss. This is going to be a fun game for Ole Miss to see where they're at, in this point of the season. Auburn is no slouch, even though LSU just dog walked that team last week. And I was a little shocked. I knew LSU would win, but I thought Auburn would come in with some more fight.
I was prepared that we were going to have to go into a dogfight again. I was a little surprised too.
Yeah, and the defense looked much better.
Auburn just hasn't looked good enough to really put up a dogfight against anybody. Yeah, they haven't really looked threatening. I expected y'all to go in and just clean house.
Yeah.
I think the Georgia game is the only thing you look to and say, okay, maybe Auburn has a chance. Maybe they can put up a fight. But it looks like Arkansas is that team that's going to put up a fight and lose, and Auburn's just going to be a little bit just disappointing like we expected all season.
Yeah, they're not going to win the big games. They put up a good fight against Georgia. That might have been like the last bit of fight they had this season. Hugh Freeze got to give him some time. He'll figure it out over there. I do believe they'll be back on the map sooner rather than later, but that's not going to happen this week. Give me the Ole Miss Rebels covering. Ole Miss winning this one. We're covering too, 34-24. Nolan, what you got in this one?
Ooh.
I got a little bit of a tighter game than that. Okay. I'm looking at my score prediction, and I'm thinking maybe I got a little bit more low scoring than I should, but I have Ole Miss winning 20-13. I got a little bit of a tight game.
I like
kind of got a little bit of that Tennessee, Texas A&M vibe to it. It's just like Auburn sticks around but doesn't quite make the plays at the end of the game.
Okay, I like that. CDM, what you got here?
I've got Ole Miss winning this game. I think their offense is just too high-powered, and that Auburn defense probably can't be able to handle it. I mean, y'all having a high-powered offense, y'all did the same thing to them. I have Ole Miss winning this game 31-21.
Okay, 31-21.
There you go.
It's good. I think it could be a close game at first, but Ole Miss will end up just running away with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. All right, Tennessee at your Alabama Crimson Tide. CDM. Bama is a 9.5-point favorite over under 48. CDM. Start us off for your Crimson Tide. Did the Tide
shocked that we're 9.5-point favorites.
That's a pretty big spread.
Yeah, dude, we were 20-point favorites against Arkansas. Look what that turned out to be.
SEC's tough.
It's going to be a tough. Like this is a tough one. I hear this is another big test, especially before the bye week. We really need a win going in because then we play LSU at home. I'm obviously going to take Bama. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be not a repeat of last year, but I think it can kind of live up to the hype it was. If we continue to play like we do on defense and shut that Tennessee offense down, which Tennessee's defense is no slouch against this offense that is continuously struggling, not as much as we did early, but they do have a good defense. But I'm going to take Bama winning 38-28.
All right. I like this.
You got them covering.
You got them.
I got us covering. I think Arkansas was supposed to be like, hey, we're back. I think this is the game that's going to be like, hey, we're back. Not forever, but we're back to at least compete for an SEC championship and possibly a playoff spot. Right now, my eyes are not on playoff. My eyes are just making an SEC championship game.
All right. I hear you there, brother. All right. I'll give us a little quick prediction here. This is a fun football game. And I think this will give us exactly what we need to know about Alabama before they face off against LSU. Believe everyone understands what kind of team LSU has at this point. Unfreaking real offense, shaky defense. They come in, they'll play some good sometimes. Majority of the time, they're not going to play great defense. Alabama it's hard to put it's hard to put a label on this team. They're a good run team or they're a good deep.
They say,
oh my gosh,
losing hope.
These
losing hope.
These freaking ESPN ads, man. I gotta figure out how to stop those from happening. Yeah, like I was saying, what kind of team is Alabama? Are they gonna be this team that's gonna run the ball, big shots, rely on defense? I don't know yet. Still up in the air on whether this team is, the team that we believe they can be. Still feels like they're getting their footing. I said that 1,000 times earlier. Not going to keep repeating myself. But I do believe this is going to be another really good game in the SEC and another game that just makes maybe even more confusion on this team and which might be good for Alabama, not to know. Not knowing exactly what you're going to get when you face
what I told you? Remember what I said about Georgia having adversity? This is what Bama needs. We need some more adversity.
Yeah.
Texas was a big one. Texas was just like, okay, that could happen either way. We need some adversity.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like y'all are playing with house money now, though. Like y'all are getting better every week. Y'all know that y'all really can't lose another game. If you want to make it to the SEC championship. So, and Nick Saban, he's going to instill that in his players. They understand that, and Nick Saban knows that better than anybody. So, I believe they'll respond in an amazing game and pull it off at the end, defensively making a stop. Similar to this week, kind of making a big stop to kind of lock in this game. Give me the Tide 27-23. Nolan, what you got in this one?
gonna ruffle some feathers with my prediction here. I have
You bastard.
I think this is a game. I could be completely wrong, and Alabama's going to go out there and handle their business. But I've got the weirdest feeling that if Tennessee sees success early, this is going to be a game that Alabama's going to be nervous to lose, and then they're going to lack execution. You're going to see the pre-snap penalties, and you're going to see them tighten up throughout the game. And I've got Tennessee winning 24-21 in overtime. I got a classic. I got a classic, bro.
Oh my god, dude!
Like I said, I could be completely.
You're gonna have me at work sweating bullets, man. I'm gonna be over here.
I needed to pick a couple upsets, and this just felt like if Tennessee sees a little success early, they get an early touchdown. I just feel like you're going to see Alabama tighten up because Alabama's not a team that plays from behind. This team is just a team that has to play from ahead. So that's my prediction. We'll see what happens.
Hey, I respect the upset.
I like that. I respect that one.
I gotta be bold. Gotta be bold.
I love this next game.
Coming on College Kings. Gotta be bold.
Gotta be bold. Bama's a tough team to pick as an upset, against. But I totally get where you're coming from. The SEC's always. It's just been so many good SEC games.
I actually found it very easy to pick against Bama.
I bet you did, Nolan.
So does everybody. Everybody.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Grandma. Sorry, Carson.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. I remember this.
Carson's gonna walk in on College Kings and gives me hell now, Nolan, because he picked against them.
Yeah. I understand what's coming. It's okay.
All right, let's move on.
You've unleashed the monster.
Nick Saban's gonna hear this. Bulletin board material. All right. Let's go to a Pac-12 matchup.
Nolan, your favorite conference.
Hey, this was
Just wait till you see my pick.
This game last year had so much implications. This team now it's like, USC has to win this game, but Utah's playing with house money once again. Another team that's just out here to play and win and spoil someone's season. Spoil a player's chances for a back-to-back Heisman. We're not going to see that again, I don't think. Utah travels out there to Southern California to face the Trojans. The Trojans are 5-point favorites, over under 56 points. Utah does not really have a quarterback, but this defense is legit. CDM, start us off here. What you got in this one?
Oh, I'm taking Utah. Absolutely. No doubt about it. No doubt in my mind. I will take Utah 34-31.
Not surprised.
If Cam Rising is playing, it's game over. Daddy came home, and guess what? He brought the milk and he brought the cigs because he's about to light your ass up. I'm telling you right now, Cam Rising is coming for you in this game. I don't care. I do not care. USC is trash. USC is frauds. USC is bums.
What to you?
I'm not repeating that. One time was enough. But yeah, no, Utah's winning this game. I'm sorry. USC is about to go on a big lose. They're about to go on a 2-game losing streak, and they're going to look like pitiful puppies on the side of the road waiting for somebody to come pick them up. And it's not going to be Utah. Utah's just going to leave them there crying because they're going to win this game. No doubt in my mind, USC's defense is not ready for some of these offenses they have to play against. And this is one offense that you don't want to play against because this offense will score some points on you when you least expect it. But I'm hoping Cam Rising is back for this game because that is the biggest factor. But I'm taking Utah on the road, beating them at their house, 34-31. Daddy's coming home. I'm telling you. Daddy's coming home.
Apparently, he's eyed this game all season as his comeback game. Feels like we've heard that all freaking year.
Please let this be the game he comes back.
Yeah, man.
If I see Cam Rising march on that field, it's game over. It's game over.
Apparently,
Caleb Williams might as well just be shaking his boots right there.
Yeah, apparently that starting tight end, that Dogg, it might be coming back too for the youth. So. I mean, if that happens, man, we got a fun matchup. I agree, though. Utah's defense is going to be another team that's just going to cause too many problems for this USC offense. Lincoln Riley is not going to be able to respond. And, these kinds of games, you really expect to see a team, respawn and kind of, all right, we're back in this. We need to get a win, stay in the hunt. I don't know if I see that this week, man. I just don't know if I see that from these Trojans, man. Feels like once they're down, they're going to just get down even more. I'm taking Utah. Utah has casually just won these games all year. They only have two losses, right? Only 2 losses on the season.
Is it 2 or is it 1?
They only lost to, is it Oregon State beat them? It might be only one.
I think it's only 1 loss.
All right. See, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, this team just casually just keeps on winning. Even though they don't even have a freaking quarterback. These stats are freaking insane, by the way, when it comes to the quarterback play at Utah. I'm gonna tell y'all this because I saw this earlier and it makes me just like it confuses the hell out of me. Yeah, get right. Yeah, one loss, Oregon State, and it was 21-7. Once again, another great defensive play, from this team. They're so good on defense. Only one loss. Their quarterbacks. This is their quarterback. I want y'all to hear me loud and clear. This is their quarterbacks. Nate Johnson has 499 passing yards on the season. 3 touchdowns. Their backup, who was their starter last week, Bryson Barnes, has 398 passing yards on this season. One touchdown, 2 interceptions. This team doesn't have over 1,000 passing yards on the season, and they're 5-1. This team barely.
Jesus. That's crazy.
This team barely has 1,000 rushing yards. Yeah.
Good Lord. That makes no sense. Those are some whack stats.
That's crazy stats, dude.
Insane.
Those are some whack stats, bro.
Insane. So
explains why they only put up 7 points in their loss. But
I mean, this team cannot score the ball, and it's crazy for me to even give them this many points. But I'm gonna give it to them, man. Hey,
look what they did against Florida week 1. They looked good, but then it just kind of was hit or miss on the quarterback position.
Yeah, they're not great on offense. But I'm gonna give them this game. I'm gonna give the Utah Utes a win here, and it's gonna be a great defensive battle where Caleb Williams has another rough day.
Did you say a defensive battle?
Defensive.
That means 2 defenses have to play, right?
Utah offense versus this USC defense might be the worst game opponent versus opponent I've ever seen in my life.
But you have to have a defense to play. USC doesn't have a defense, so it's just going to be Utah's offense versus grass.
I wish I could just tell you that Utah has enough of an offense. This offense is anemic, Carson. It is so freaking bad. It is the worst offense, I think. It definitely the Pac-12. All right, we're pulling up another stat here.
Oh well, nothing's worse than Southern Miss's offense.
The over/under for this game is 56 points.
Yeah,
how is that even possible? Dear Lord, they think Utah's going to score back to back with them.
Insanity, by the way. Freaking sanity. I agree. Yeah, this team is.
I think I technically have the over.
Do you have the over?
I have the under. I think
might be on accident.
Utah is number.
No, I have the over.
Hey, I want y'all to guess. Out of 130 universities, where does Utah rank offensively?
Offensively, 128.
It's a good prediction.
Dang, I was gonna say like 124.
Very good predictions. Tied for 119. Yes, this team is. Guess who's the worst in the country?
Southern Miss.
No. This is actually an
good
easy.
Guess.
This is actually an easy prediction. They are consistently the worst. Consistently one of the worst.
Are they in the Power 5 or the Group of 5?
Yes, Power 5.
Oh my God!
Consistently horrible offense.
Vanderbilt.
No, they're actually they're actually not even in here. No.
What conference?
Yeah, what conference is it?
Big Ten.
Wisconsin?
Nope. Come on, you know
Purdue?
Nebraska?
Nope. And Nebraska is one of the worst. Yes, one of the worst. But
man, Big Ten.
Come on, you know this.
I'm trying to think.
Illinois.
No, consistently.
Illinois is consistently bad.
Consistent. They had to put it in the coach's offensive coordinator's contract. He has to score this amount of points this season, and he is not.
Dude. Oh, I know this one. Oh my God. Oh my God.
They're still in the race for the Big Ten.
Michigan State.
Nope.
Oh my God. Just tell me, man. Just tell me.
Iowa, baby.
Iowa.
Oh wow.
Worst in the country.
Aren't they ranked?
Yeah. I mean, not ranked, but they're still only have one loss on the season.
Yeah, but they got shut out by Penn State in that loss.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, no, that's not good. They're that bad?
They're the worst in the country.
Dude, that's sad.
Oh my God.
That is sad.
133, baby. Let's go. I really thought they'd be better. McNamara is also no longer playing football for this team anymore, so.
He got hurt. Nolan, did you make a prediction for this game?
Sorry.
Nathan, did you give your score?
My score, 16-14.
Dear God.
I just
16-14. My Lord.
I'm sorry. for this game, and it feels like it's not a good sign if we're all picking Utah right now. But I did pick Utah. I have Utah winning 31-27. I think the only way you can beat USC's at least putting up 24, 25 points.
Fair.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel
for
like
sure.
feel like you have to be able to score with them. And based off the conversation we just had, I'm losing confidence by the second. This is the Pac-12, and I should not have overestimated them this highly. But I'm standing with my score prediction. USC's gonna lose to Utah, 31-27.
Okay, I got you. Next game up, we got Duke at Florida State. Big game right here. Big game. Duke's no slouch. I'm going to start this one off. I've got Florida State winning. I got Florida State winning comfortably. I think this is one game in the ACC that they need to win by a lot. So I've got Florida State 44-24. I think it's just going to be a powerhouse clean. I think they keep it close at first with Duke because Duke does have a underrated defense. I think we saw that in the Notre Dame game, also in the Clemson game. But I got Florida State winning this game. I think they still go undefeated and stay perfect in ACC play and in the country as well.
Hey, I like that. Yeah, I mean, I've already said my, respect for Florida State. They're getting better every week too. It feels like on offense, defense is talented, and I do have a lot of respect for Duke. They're a good team, but they're not beating the Seminoles. Give me FSU 34-17. They get the cover. That spread is 13.5, by the way.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And you took the
my prediction is I've got Florida State winning, obviously, but I got a little closer than people probably want Florida State to be winning by.
I wanted to put this one as a close one. I did. I really did.
I wanted a blowout. I need a blowout game for this team.
I have two scores, but I think Duke sticks around. I've got Florida State winning 31-20. 31-20.
Okay.
That's a solid one out there. I like that.
Backdoor cover.
I feel like they're gonna figure it out at the end. Duke's gonna stick around. It might be a one possession game in the fourth quarter, and then Florida State's gonna have a chance to go by 2 scores, and it's just gonna be it.
I respect that. That was really close to my first prediction, but I changed.
I like that
before the.
But
pod.
now we get on to the main course, the best game of the week. We are Penn State. The Penn State and Indy Lions go on to Columbus, Ohio to take on the undefeated Ohio State Buckeyes. It's going to be a game, boys. It's going to be probably the best game, another great game of the year. Ohio State's prolific offense going up against this Penn State defense. I'll let y'all kick it off, and I'll go last on it. So, Nolan, take us away. What do you think? Who do you think is going to come out with this awesome game?
First of all, appreciate the boys for getting me on the pod today. I'm very excited to make this prediction. This is an awesome game to predict. I'm gonna say it's gonna live up to the hype. I have Penn State pulling off the win.
Boom!
Penn State pulling off the win. They win 24-23.
Oh, damn!
Great game.
Absolutely intense game. I think maybe Penn State has a chance to get a field goal and take the lead and win the game 24-23.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, man. Listen, Ohio State 4.5 point favorites, only 47.5 over under. They're expecting a defensive game out there in Vegas. And I would have to agree with this Penn State defense. I don't care, who they played. They have stood up to everybody and done exactly what we expect them to do all year. This defense is legit. Ohio State has a lot of talent on defense. Ohio State's getting better on offense. I really like Drew Aller for Penn State. This is probably not a good sign because I know where this is going. Give me the Nittany Lions in this one. We're winning this one. We're bringing this one home. We're going to go out to Michigan and have an amazing game of the year possibility there as well, like CDM said. Nittany Lions pull it off. Drew Aller makes a big-time play late, 20-17.
Got you. So I'm going to follow the train. Y'all know me for a while. You know how much I love Penn State. My uncle big Penn State fan. I've been hyping them up all year right now because they have lived up to the hype.
Yes.
Taking Penn State in this one. Going into Columbus, that's a very tough environment. This is the biggest game of their year besides having to play Michigan at home. This is the biggest game, especially since it's on the road in such a hostile environment. But I think this defense can get it done. I don't think this Ohio State offense is ready for this defense right now. I think the only thing that Ohio State's offense has going for them is Marvin Harrison Jr. It's about the only thing. But the secondary at Penn State, I'm pretty sure can I'm not going to say lock him down, but cause some disturbance between him and McCord when it comes to the pass game. Drew Allard playing really smart ball for a redshirt freshman as well. A lot of hype coming out of his recruitment class, him being the number one quarterback. Him sitting behind Sean Clifford for a year really helped out as well to get his feet wet in a couple of games last year. But this year he's just turned it on and made this team his team. I think this has been one of the best quarterbacks that Penn State's going to have for a while. They get this dude for about 4 or 5 years. I'm going to take Penn State in this one. I have Penn State winning 35-28. It's going to be a close one, but I think Penn State comes out on top because we are Penn State. Let's go Lions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Nittany Lions across the board. We also have the Utes across the board. We have some upset picks we agree on. Let's see if we get them right, boys.
Did we all agree? I think we agreed on every pick except
the Bama.
The Bama one.
Yeah, somebody had to be different. Somebody just has to be.
To me.
So Nolan, I have this. So when Washington goes and wins the Pac goes and wins the Natty this year, I'm gonna buy you a Michael Penix jersey, okay? And I would appreciate if you would just wear that around one day at school.
I'd wear it. I'd wear it. Yeah,
because it's purple. I know you love your purple jerseys.
If a Pac-12 team wins the national championship this year, I'll wear whatever Pac-12 jersey you want me to wear. I will wear Colorado
it's not
jersey.
Well, they can't make it. Obviously, I'm not going to go buy a USC jersey because USC is not even going to make the Pac-12 championship. So Washington, I can get you a pretty Michael Penix jersey.
We're going to get him an Arizona jersey. No.
Oh, dear God.
Hey, we got it on record.
Give me a Jaden Daniels Arizona State jersey, actually.
Hey,
that's actually a throwback.
I'll
give you that one. That was nice.
Yeah,
that was nice one right there. I think that'll cover our game picks, guys.
What a great pod. Once again, CDM, thank you for co-hosting as always, and Nolan,
always an honor, sir.
Thank you for being the first special guest.
For being the first guest, my man. We appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you boys. Thanks for letting me hop on this pod with y'all. I know I'm not as big into college football as y'all are, but I appreciate the opportunity to come talk about it with y'all.
Hey, man, we love it. We love to bring as many people as possible, and it was a great time, my man. I'll close this out real quick. As always, you can find College Kings on Nate Dogg Sports, Nate Dogg Productions on YouTube. Go subscribe, go follow, go like everything we got out there. We're going to be posting about this pod and dropping our new top 25 rankings as we do weekly, me and CDM. And, go give us a love. That's the only way that we know how y'all are interacting with our content. We love doing it, and we're going to keep doing it until we don't love doing it. All right, that'll do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Nolan Lee, once again, for joining us. CDM, you are the man. We will be.
Always an honor, sir.
We'll be back next week with our heads held high when the Nittany Lions beat down on the Buckeyes. You heard it here first. We got it right last week. We're going to get it right again this week. Thank you all for listening to the College Kings, presented by Nate Dogg Sports. Peace.
Deuces.